Okay.
Order the regular city council meeting, November 18th, 2025. And we have a quorum.
Sorry.
Would Chief Coy do our flag salute?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chief Anderson.
Yeah, if you would, please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, as we gather here this evening, we come with our hearts filled with gratitude during this Thanksgiving season, and we thank you for the abundant blessings, for the gift of this community, for the freedoms that we enjoy, for the opportunities that lie before us. And in many ways, Father, you watch over our city and its people. Lord, we ask your guidance upon the mayor and the city council tonight as they conduct the business of this city. And I ask, Lord, that you grant them the wisdom, the clarity, and the unity as they make the decision that shapes the future of our city. Help them lead with humility, with compassion, and with service. In this season, God, remind us to show us grace to one another. Let us seek understanding as we work together for the good of our people. May your peace rest upon this meeting and upon every home in our city. We give you thanks, O Lord, for your provision. We ask all of that in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Next item is the consent docket. Does anyone have any items they want to pull out of there, talk about?
I don't want to talk about, but can I get clarification on item F?
If you will look at the extra paperwork that I gave you, I gave explanations for E and F on,
Okay.
on your docket, on your page there.
Well, then I can't.
Okay. Anybody else? Or anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent docket.
Second it.
Okay. Next is reports from,
Well, we gotta vote.
oh, sorry. Oh, you need,
Can y'all give me like 3 minutes to run and grab my book?
Yes, of
Sure.
course.
oh,
I said I can write it, but it'd be a lot easier if I grabbed it.
okay, that's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Yeah, well, I forgot we're supposed to vote.
No, you just knew we didn't have voting
So
sheets.
Matt already told me at one time we can't do by unanimous consent.
Yeah,
I'm just saying she shouldn't have confessed that and should have just said, well, I knew we didn't have the voting sheets.
yeah. Hey. My head's still a little fuzzy. So I had a concussion last meeting, and
Yes, it's on the.
that's why I was so loopy. I don't know if this is appropriate right now, but I'm going to say it anyways. Chief Anderson's mom passed away last week, and
400s.
he's amazing. He's here. He had the funeral yesterday. He wasn't, yeah. So, sorry.
It's Jeopardy music.
Who's playing?
Somebody's playing some music.
Who is Mike Shaw?
That's right. Who is Vice Mayor of Warr?
I almost lost my voice and was going to see if you wanted to do the agenda.
Is that you?
Do the meeting?
Yeah,
Oh.
I didn't, it came back.
Vice Mayor to perform the duties in the absence of the mayor's voice.
Doing that.
Yeah, in the absence of my voice.
I swear it's him. Can tell.
We could call it, I mean, it's absence, disability.
I mean, I didn't know, is that okay? Can he do that if I'm here early?
It would only be an issue if he tried to usurp the gavel,
Oh, okay.
but you handing it to him would not be an issue.
I'm so worried about getting all your stuff. I forgot to grab mine. So motion by Judy and then seconded by Debbie.
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Morris?
Yay.
Musaway?
Yes.
Fairchild?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Douglas?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Now, Chief Anderson.
If I may, Mayor, Council, just a personal point that I'd like to say, that I wanted to accept my deepest gratitude for the thoughtfulness and the expressions of sympathy that were offered by the council, by citizens, by employees across this city. It was more than I would have ever deserved. It was more than my family was taken back by. And your prayers, the text, the cards, they have meant more than I could ever say. But I wanted to personally say thank you. And I thank you for the privilege of being able to address the council and being able to say thank you to each one of you. But in reference to the report itself, I can let it stand. I do want to add a couple of things. One of the things that I had been working on was to give you some very factual numbers when it came to the issue of our fleet. And compared to last year, and what I did is a 12-month period from October to October for 23-24, and in maintenance alone, our department spent $66,384.86. In comparison to 24-25, so I went back exactly 12 months here, we have spent $30,491. So we were able to cut our maintenance cost by moving some old fleet and being able to bring the new ones in. We've been able to cut that in half over the last 12 months. And I wanted to be able to pass that on to you. If there's any questions in reference to the report, I would be more than happy to entertain it. Okay.
Chief Coy?
Okay, so for the fire department, I don't have a lot to add to the report. It was a great month of getting out into the public for trunk or treat events and Fire Safety Prevention Week. We went to Dove Academy numerous times and other schools and daycares. We also responded mid-October to a medical facility in Warr Acres, and the patient was given 2 nitroglycerin before we arrived. The blood pressure was dropping drastically in the hospital. Our firefighter rode with Pafford, recognized that the pulse stopped, and the firefighter and paramedic brought that patient's, had a return of spontaneous circulation, and that patient came out of the hospital neurologically intact just a couple days later and expressed gratitude to us for saving their life.
Right.
So you guys did an excellent job. Just to keep you aware, at the old fire station next door to the new one, Pafford utilizes a portion of the old apparatus floor we used to keep our fire trucks. They now have 3 ambulances in there. We as a city pay for 1 full-time ambulance. The other 2, they're storing there as intra-facility transport trucks. So there's enough need from transporting a patient from, say, Baptist Hospital to OU Medical, or from a nursing home to the hospital, that they're storing those and using. One of them's a BLS truck and one's an ALS truck, and it's a benefit to us because they're staffed. So in the busy times of day, if we had a lot occur, there would be extra ambulances available.
Nice.
Great.
And otherwise, I'm happy to answer any questions about the report.
I have a call in to them for the new lease agreement for the building, so
Okay,
he said he would send it to me, but I haven't got it yet, so.
okay.
Anybody? Okay. Let's see, who's next? City Clerk?
I have anything extra.
Okay.
You know, time to,
Questions y'all have on what I,
She's worked so hard this week. City Attorney? Okay. Public Works?
Well, we made our transition last month, as you know, to the poly carts. So all the citizens that participated and made it work, I appreciate that. Of course, it's all new to us too, so we're working out the handicap list, getting second carts delivered, trying to get people to realize to use the carts and all the little nuances on the carts. So there was 4,500 carts delivered right there by the animal shelter, and then a company delivered the bulk of 3,000 or so, and then all of our employees from streets and sewer and parks and sanitation delivered all the second carts and tried to make all that work. So for one of the carriers, it's been a much easier, he said it was wonderful to transition to a more mechanized pickup using the tippers on the rear of the truck. They're still trying to get the hang of the side loader. Fortunately, unfortunately, it was hit the second day we had it on Tuesday, but it didn't take it out of action. It just grazed the fuel tank. It tore up the other car pretty good, but it was there at a curve over in Twin Lakes. So overall, I think it's going to work really well. There's going to be a transition period to get everybody all their carts and everything, so I appreciate all the citizens that made it work. Of course, you have a handful of people that don't like it. One citizen referred to them as ghetto carts, and so I said, well, does it look better than having all your trash piled on the ground in front of your house? And so she just didn't like the carts, and some people just don't like the carts. So I appreciate all that, and it takes all the employees to make it work. What else is going on? So, the bulky waste. The bulky waste, of course, our grappling truck, we ordered a new cylinder, get ready for it for the 1st of October, and the cylinder blew out in 3 days. So we ordered another cylinder. It took a week and a half. And, well, the original new cylinder quit within a week, less than a week, and then the new cylinder didn't get here till today. The wrong part was ordered, so, and shipped. So we'll be back on that tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have all that picked up by Thanksgiving. And then the Thanksgiving holiday is coming up. Of course, we'll be closed on Thursday and Friday, which will move the makeup day to Wednesday. So those two wards, please have all your carts out on Wednesday. And I know
Prior to the holiday.
prior to the holiday, correct. So with running the side loader and the two rear loaders with tippers, we should be able to complete those tasks and get everybody picked up within that week, so it's not a huge mess on Monday. So once again, it takes all the employees to make everything work, from utilities. Last year, there was over 2,000 Okie locates throughout just our 2.5 square miles. That includes everything from water to gas lines. I really like to keep an eye on anything like gas lines. We have a couple of huge gas mains, one along the expressway. There's one along 63rd, high pressure lines. Of course, you don't want anybody hitting those. So we're required to respond to each one of those, at least make a comment if it's clear, or if it's something we need to go mark, like over one of our force mains, which we obviously don't want to have cut, which could create a huge problem. So, there's a lot of tasks to do to keep everything working. I know Judy worked on Oklahoma City. We worked with OG&E getting street lights repaired, poles put up. We had some road patches that were like Comanche and 72nd here since the somewhere around the first of the year. And then they were fairly quick out here on 42nd Street. So those here right by Wall Street got fixed relatively quickly. So
Yeah, I called them twice.
you called them twice. So a lot of people called. We
Yeah.
all called. So if there's any questions, there was the permit list, didn't get printed off, but it was, for some reason, there was,
Oh, we got it. We got it.
did you get it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw it.
we got it.
Oh, did you correct it? And the copy I had, it didn't show up,
Oh.
so
it's in her portion.
it's in her portion?
The
Oh,
mayor's.
okay, I got you. You moved it to there. I'm with you.
Yeah, we got it.
Catching on.
I have a question, Mike, on the service, have you started issuing correction notices yet?
We have not. We're just trying to keep the peace, so to speak. The majority of people have done a great job of getting their trash and converting. We appreciate that, so we're still working with those people. So we'll probably start next week. We'll get together probably Friday and write up a list and print some off and just tape it to the card.
So, okay, that was my next
Yeah.
question. So you'll tape them to the cart? And
Yeah.
then on there, so like, I see a lot of people with extra trash that aren't in the cart, so I know that's one of the correction notices.
You're right.
Are you putting on the correction notice that they can get a second cart?
We'll
And-
do that.
Okay,
We'll put it
great.
on there a second and third card.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
So,
I had a comment about that too. I went to some of the neighbors Sunday, and if they're a renter, some of their landlords are not letting them get a second cart. And they don't know what to do about it because we sent it to the owner is supposed to pay. How are we gonna deal with that? Is that anything we can handle?
Well, they'll start getting a fine, won't they, for garbage being out at the curb?
They could.
Yeah.
good. We're gonna, the idea is to use the carts where we're not picking stuff up off the ground. So we'll just issue a correction notice. As far as trying to force an owner to pick up an extra cart, I don't know if we can force them to do that, but
So,
we can move forward with our notices, and we just don't pick it up. And then if they start calling, we'll just all have to be on the same sheet of music that, hey, you got to get an extra cart. This is just the way it works.
If they start getting extra charges, they'll
So-
Yeah.
extra charge.
so the correction note, it's gonna be on the trash can itself, it's not
That's my
gonna be
plan.
mailed to the name?
Yeah.
So the landlord is not gonna be notified? I will not,
Yeah.
that is a problem, because
That's-
if she
yeah.
needs another,
If you
Or-
send me the notices when you do them, if you could make like duplicates, have them write a list of who they send them to, then we could always mail them out to the owners.
Yeah, because how many that we discovered were in our mailings that were out of town?
Oh, hundreds.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't really know if they were a renter
I did
or
not receive mine.
not, so.
You
We
need,
got a whole stack of them back from.
yeah, the post office,
Was supposed to receive 2 letters. I did not receive
Right.
both of them. I actually picked up the letter from here.
yeah, the post office wouldn't deliver a bunch of them.
Yeah, and the
Right.
post office have its own issues.
Yeah,
because
I know.
Yes,
I mailed something for myself, I didn't receive it. So that
Yes.
tells you.
yeah, my mom didn't get her letter, and
Someone in the audience.
I got my mom's address right, so.
I would-
There was a lot of people that didn't get letters, and I went back and looked at our list, and it was correct. Now, some of the ones, we just used the wrong zip code, like the we used,
I see your
22
hand, that's fine.
instead of
Yeah, just say-
08 for Bethany, and there was just a small handful of those returned.
I also have a question. The carts that were put at the houses with no service, have you started picking up those, or I can't remember when you said you were gonna?
We're gonna try to start next week, and then after Thanksgiving, we'll go through
She's got the list.
the list of the people that are on the do not pick up list, so
Or-
carts,
Yeah.
we probably find some of them migrated to those houses somehow, or rolled to those houses. The vacant houses, we can pick up those carts, and return them to the yard.
I was concerned, I just saw some had blown out in the road and, that were at the
Yeah,
vacant
We're
houses.
gonna do a reconciliation of, like, how many carts each house has, because we're getting a lot of phone calls. Sometimes I get a call, do you need an extra cart? I might forget to turn it into Crystal to add to their utility bill, so I'll go through all those. So there'll be a transition period this next, couple weeks here, and hopefully it'll be going good by the first of the year.
They are lighter than what I expected,
up to
it,
you.
to be honest.
You can decide.
Yeah.
I thought they will be heavier,
So,
with
so,
really very soft wind.
so you like them? Yeah. You like the
I
poly
like them
carts?
heavy, so they don't.
Right, so you like the poly carts?
I love them,
I love them. I'm thankful for them.
yeah.
I think a lot of the people really like them, so I think it's a much better.
Just a second. Anybody else?
Anybody else?
I was just gonna say,
Yeah,
before you,
Hold
let
on,
me just say, thank you for getting all the limbs and stuff too, even with all the crazy schedules and the new poly carts. The limbs got picked up. Thank you.
Ward 4 is still.
Yeah, we're still.
Well, in my area, Ward 3, thank you.
Yeah, the
Oh,
grappling,
she don't care about Ward 4, it's just Ward 3.
yeah, the grappling truck.
I mean, mine were out for so many weeks, I thought you forgot.
Well, the grappling truck was, he said the cylinder
Yeah.
Got it
was
today,
messed up,
we
and
put it
then they've
on
been
today.
picking them up with, you told me, 2 different kinds of
The
equipment.
backhoe and the Bobcat.
Yeah.
And the roll-off.
Yeah.
So they've been out working on that, so
I
the
was
street
home at
department's
lunch
been
when
working
I-
really hard to try to make that work.
There's a lady that wants to talk.
Excuse me, yes. why
Come up,
can't-
come
why
up,
can't-
come up front
Oh,
and
I'm sorry.
give your name and address.
Oh,
It's out of order, yeah.
It's up to the mayor.
here I am.
There's a microphone right up there.
Oh, okay. My name is Terry Carr. I live at 5955 Northwest 34th, so it's right there on the edge. Why can't we pick up the trash twice a week? That would be plenty. The one cart will be fine if you pick it up twice a week instead of once a week. Why can't we do that?
Well, we just decided, the
The
economics.
95 gallons was adequate for 1 week unless they need to
Correct.
add 95-gallon polycart versus the old-timey 55-gallon that my house has.
It's the
But
same
if-
service
if
that
you-
you receive in any other town. Oklahoma City
Well,
gives you
no,
one.
well, okay, I don't know what they do anywhere else, but I'm just saying, if we pick, because we've been picked up twice a week,
Well,
and
if you
that's,
got
that's
two
fine.
carts, You're paying less for 2 carts than what you're paying now.
Yeah, I talked to you
And you would get the
today.
same amount of trash and service that you've got now.
Okay, I pay $80.83 a month.
That's sewer too.
Just, yes, I understand. Sewer, ambulance, trash, I understand that. So it doesn't include my water. Bethany gets my water, Warr gets my trash, Oklahoma City gets everything else.
We do sewer.
So, but yeah, no.
Sewer and trash
Water,
is-
right, Warr does the trash and sewer, and I understand that,
So
and all
your,
the other little
your
fees.
bill right now is 30.
No, my bill is $80.80.
No, your
I'm with
garbage.
you, I'm with you, okay, I'm
Your
with you.
garbage is 30, but I talked to you today and I said if you get one more card, it'll still be $1 less than what it
A
was.
whole dollar. But if you just, I don't understand why you can't pick it up twice a week like we have been.
You just-
Expenses,
it's
expenses,
It's
the
too
very
land-
expensive, you have to
expensive.
buy another truck.
They-
And hire more men that don't want to work for a low wage.
You're right.
Yeah, and take more to the landfill, landfill fees.
Okay, I understood, I didn't know about that landfill.
Yeah, I told you
earlier.
about that today, yeah.
Extra, $40, $50 a month, we guess we could do it twice a week, but nobody
Yeah, it
wants to do
doubled
that.
the rate, yeah.
Okay, I just had a question, I just wanted to
No,
know.
and we're.
We have spent a lot of time debating about it.
I had the same question, because that was voted, I think, last year in September.
Well, you know,
So-
years ago, it was picked up 3 times a week,
Well,
which I
that
thought
wa-
was
times were
extravagant.
different.
I thought that was extravagant.
Times were different.
3 times a
And I
week
walked
was
to
too
school
much.
in the snow.
But
Yeah,
Yes.
twice a
Well-
week,
Yeah.
I felt,
Inflation.
you know,
Yeah.
because it's staggered, you know, so that
Yeah.
works. But
Yeah.
once a week, it's gonna be a hard transition.
Yes.
For everybody.
No.
well, all of our costs
That-
have gone up.
That's the answer. The
I know
labor
that's
and
All
landfill
of our
fees have
costs
really
have gone
gone
up.
up, so
So that's the major,
that's the major
Yeah.
issue.
that's the big
That's why. That's the big reason why
kink
we.
in the,
change
stick
around,
in the
yeah.
weel there.
Yeah, yeah.
And-
Okay, well,
Thank you for your
that's-
question.
It's the same, well, not the same, but it's almost the same volume of trash being
You-
picked up.
you have the same volume.
Little bit smaller,
Yeah.
little bit smaller.
And
but
Terry,
little.
I did get your phone call today. I was at work, but I did let the mayor know that you called with your questions, so.
Yeah, and then I talked to her, so.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I called everybody. I wanted to know. I wanted to find out.
Yeah.
just
But
to let
it's-
you know, my mom's kind of likes the way you like it, so she's let me in her house now a little bit, so. And some of her neighbors didn't really like it, so there's a lot, there's a certain number of people that like the old way. And yes, it's more convenient to have twice a week, but I think it'll work really good. I mean, you have to use a little bit of, don't throw things that are gonna spoil
Well,
the
yeah, I
day
know
that
you
you.
have a huge budget here. I didn't know how much until I came here today.
And also use the recycling. That really helps. On Saturdays, the first
One
Saturday,
Saturday a
the
month.
first Saturday, plastic number 1s, number 2s,
And that's confusing because they don't take all the plastics.
we take,
Even though they have the marks on them, they're still not.
you have to look
Okay,
at the
I need to
bottom.
rein this in, because usually people in the public aren't allowed to talk just on items. And like this is going, I can't be here till midnight
Yeah.
talking about trash.
But,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Okay.
Good
see-
question, thank you.
I did have a question for Mike though.
Yeah.
So can if someone says, a resident says, can you pick mine up twice a week and I'll pay for it? Or is that not an option at this point right now?
Really didn't make that an option.
So they just need to buy an extra can?
Correct.
I'm just saying it so people that are watching it, because, a lot of times people don't know that we've been talking about this for almost over a year.
Yeah.
And
Right,
then
right.
now it's a
Right.
problem, but.
We'll probably be a little bit lenient here till everybody gets settled in, but the goal will be to get a second can if you need the second can. And also, if there's a missed trash, there is I believe in our ordinance, I think it was $10 to go back and pick it up if it was missed legitimately, so.
I've seen people with 3, and I've even saw first, I think I saw 4. So,
Some people have a lot of trash, they have a large number of people,
and
yes.
I've gone through my neighborhoods, several of them, and stopped and asked people, and they're like, this is great. They like it. So they're
So-
very happy.
Yeah.
So from a labor standpoint, with using the temporary workers, which we were using 4 to 5 at the $20 plus a rate per hour, and of course, they didn't get the $20. The company would get their $8 or $9 of that money to cover the workers' comp and all their fees. So we plan on consolidating this to use, the Warriors employees. So we're keeping, the 2 CDL drivers. We have 1 carrier that's going to remain with us. So I think it's a move in the right direction. Yes, is it not going to be as great as twice a week, but it's what everybody else does. It's a necessary move, and I think in the long run, it's just going to be really good.
I like not having to go out there twice a week.
Is there a way, I know when you guys empty it, you're keeping track of which trash you've done by making the lid stay open? Is there any way just to close it? Because what's happening is the cans fall over and then you're cracking the lids.
Yeah.
Or the wheels are falling off because the cans are falling over because they're open. Or if it's gonna rain the next couple of days, they're gonna fill with water. So I don't know how, I know like in Oklahoma City with my parents, they dump it out and then the lid closes when they put it back down. I know we're kind of manually doing it.
We're working on that. It uses the side loader uses a joystick, and thing's pretty fast, so
I bet it takes practice.
it takes some practice, but I think once they get settled in, obviously we want the lids closed to, just like.
Yeah, I
we
just
talked
didn't know if
about.
they were doing that to keep track of, we got this
No,
block.
not really.
and so
It's
they're
just,
open.
we're in the learning curve of getting used to the equipment and everything. So we'll get all those details worked out.
And then what about the stacks of cans that are in front by the giant landfill?
So what are you doing this Saturday?
Well, I mean, are they going to get moved into a locked area?
You know where your recycling posts are?
Yeah.
We're gonna move them to the west right there, and then probably
That's where we're going to.
shorten the stack, because we're still delivering carts, so we'll move those inside and put them in a secure location.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question, if we were going to move them.
Yeah, we're
put
gonna move them
somewhere
all in
safe.
here, so, and then we're trying to work on getting rid of the dirt pile, so. You need some
Little by
dirt.
little, we can move it, yeah.
I like to, free dirt?
Free dirt,
I do need some dirt.
Will you deliver?
we can't deliver.
No. Okay. City engineer? Is, not, nothing, okay. City planner?
I was just gonna say that, the Route 66 grant, we'll find out about that Thursday. So y'all should have that answer for that. There's a couple of planning items on the agenda tonight. The one for the AutoZone replat needs to be tabled to next month. And then the most recent ACOG grant funding closed maybe like a month or 2 ago. But I just want to encourage you guys to think forward for this next year, for the next cycle. If we start getting a list of projects together now, that gives us a better idea of how to scope the projects out and a higher likelihood of winning. So, and these are also projects that won't be appropriated in funding until 2030 or later. So it's not something that needs to be thought about for,
That far out?
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the most recent funding cycle was for 28, 29. So
Wow.
a lot of these projects are pretty far out. So I would say go ahead and if you apply for something and you get it and then 2030 rolls around and you don't want to do it anymore, you don't have to do it anymore. But we've got lots of opportunities for street resurfacing, striping, painting. There's a
So-
lot of clean energy grants too. So if you ever wanted to do anything EV oriented, you could do that, even replacing city
What
fleet.
does that even mean? I mean, what it means to us? What does that look like?
So, well, for the clean energy grant specifically, if you had, city fleet vehicles, you could replace them with clean energy vehicles, so CNG, electric vehicles,
Interesting.
et
Fire
cetera.
trucks, yeah.
What about
Fire truck.
solar
Next fire truck
system
could be
for
electric fire
buildings?
truck.
Solar,
Yeah.
They'll do
solar,
anything.
I don't know
Yeah.
about solar panels, I'm not
Or
sure.
police cars, they need to be
You
fast.
can do police vehicles,
But
I did
they need to
just
be
actually
fast.
apply for that for another municipality, but,
So is
Anyway.
that something they work with you? Like, who's gonna coordinate doing that? Like, is it we do it? Is it,
I mean, generally in the past, I've just been told, hey, we wanna do this project, apply for it. So, okay. But we haven't ever had a really coordinated response to these types of things, to ACOG grants specifically. I don't want to tell you guys to have another committee, but I feel like a committee could be useful just to
Maybe a
stay on
workshop.
top of the applications so that you have a list of projects that you want to apply for. And you
right, because
can
we
weed
wouldn't
out.
even know what projects exist,
Exactly.
right?
Never,
So-
Judy and I go, but there wasn't anything that that was up right now that jumped up at me that said we needed it or could use it.
Yeah, and
or-
I think that's what I'm saying now, because I think the next application cycle will probably roll around in fall of '26, close end of September or mid-October. And so now's a good time to think about it, because they're also requiring a little bit more now when it comes to the applications, including having some site plan, not like engineered site plans, but just better ideas as opposed to this is where we might want to do something. So
Yeah,
that's it.
I like that idea.
Thank you.
thanks.
Be running next
Okay, well, it says mayor, and basically I'm just giving the report for Zimmerman. The permit lists and the code enforcement, he's gone out and done a lot of code enforcement. There's about 10, 20, 30, 40, almost 50 where he's gone out and done violation letters, issued tickets, which hasn't ever been done hardly ever before. And so, we did pretty good on permits this month too. So he's just doing a really good job, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done.
I got one more thing.
Okay,
In your newsletter, you'll see a short paragraph about your trees over the roadways.
the
They need to
1550.
be 15 foot
Above.
above the roadway so that your trash truck can get down the road to pick up your trash. Our new ladder truck is almost 14 feet tall, so it will need to be able to get down the road. And I'm getting some concerns from some school buses that can't drive straight down the road. They have to drive into oncoming traffic because of trees. So, as opposed to going out and mailing 5,000 letters, I decided to drop it in the newsletter first. We've already hit a couple blocks of some bad violations. 67th Street was one of them. I drove down 67th and all but 2 houses had trees growing out into the roadway. So you need to maintain your trees back out of the road and fairly high above the road so our equipment can get around.
I have a question for you. Are you gonna send it, like if there is a ticket or violation, are you gonna send it to the house itself, to the address?
I address everything to the property owner of record on the treasurer
Property.
or the assessor site. If they don't match, I mail one to both.
Okay, that's what why.
But as I found out with the nursing home behind Cherokee Hills Church, the property owner has even changed since then. So I went in to discuss it with the director and sent it via email. So hopefully they will get their trees out of the road.
Thank you.
good. Anything else? Nope. Librarian?
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak again. I will be brief, because I think I mentioned some of these things last month. So, the month of November, as we come to a close, just kind of wanted to highlight some of the things that we've done the earlier part of the month. So, for those who may not know, the library is open on Veterans Day. We had very few people come in because people thought we were closed. We were open all day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So for anyone who's out there that doesn't know that we do observe the holiday. We do lots of activities. We're just open and active. So currently through through the end of the month, we've got a couple of things still up that are still honoring our veterans. We have a wall of honor that's up. It's basically a display where any guest or staff can bring in photos, refer a copy of the photo of any of their loved ones or family members or friends who have served in the armed forces. So we want to display that and give honor where honor is due. Why that matters, it's community driven. It shows respect, of course, for veterans, and it allows the residents to participate in honoring our veterans. So you can still bring photos up. There's probably about 20 to 25 photos up right now. It's a beautiful display right when you come in the door. So we're still taking those. We, again, ask for a copy so that in case we don't get it back to you in the right format, it's just a photocopy and not a personable photo. So please keep that in mind. We also have a Cards for Veterans activity. It's just an all-ages activity where anyone is invited to stop by the library and write out a heartfelt card or note in honor of veterans. And at the end of the month, we will take those to the American Legion Post and give those to those people and allow them to show our gratitude and thanks. We've already made contact with them. We'll probably honor them at their next Thursday morning coffee to give those to them. And then we also have a missing man table exhibit, and the missing man table is basically an exhibit that honors the fallen or missing service members. So that is also up through the end of the month. It's a table there in the middle of the library. It's got, the tablecloth, candle, the Bible. I think there's a lemon slice. All of them have a very symbolic reason to be on the table. So stop in if you haven't seen that. There's also literature for all ages, children and adults, that explains exactly why we put up the missing man table and what each of those things symbolizes. Again, that's up through the end of the month. We do have some take-home kits as well. We are also offering beginners Tai Chi classes. We've been doing those since the first Monday in November. They will go on through the middle of December. They are from 1 hour long from 11 to noon on Mondays and Wednesdays through December 11th. We have some Advent Christmas tree take-home kits right now. And then for those that do not know, we also offer beginner English second language classes for those who are adult learners interested in learning English if English is not their first language. And we do those classes on Mondays and Wednesdays from 12:30 to 2:30. They're free. All they have to do is register and sign up. So those are the things I have. I'm going to do a better job of communicating with Crystal. I've got an internal calendar that I'm going to start to send to you via email so that you'll have all of this laid out. So I didn't get the deadline this past month, but I promise I'll do better. But that's all that I have for you.
Do you get many people coming to the second language?
We have, yes. So we're not the only library that offers it, but we do have approximately 10 right now that come. In January, the time is going to change. It's from 12:30 to 2:30 now. Effective January 12th, it will change from 10 to noon because we have an outside group that comes in to teach. So it'll change. So we're kind of concerned about the time change, maybe affecting some of the attendees, but we're still going to try to make it happen. But we have about 10 right now, and that kind of changes from semester to semester. Sometimes people's childcare, those kinds of factors kind of make some people not able to come. Sometimes when it's during the day, they're like, oh, my children are in school, now I can come. So it kind of changes from semester to semester. We have an average of about 10 students who attend. And then I lastly just wanted to mention the library will be open next week. We close at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving, so we won't close at 9, it'll be 6. And then we're closed Thanksgiving Day, the day after, and we'll reopen on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. So we're only closed Thanksgiving Day and the day after. Any questions? All right.
I think the ESL been in the library for ever, if I'm not mistaken.
This is the 5th year. It's with an organization called Community Literacy Centers. And this is the 5th year they've been at Warr Acres. They've been at like Capitol Hill that has a much larger Hispanic or non English-speaking population. So they've been there for probably closer to about maybe 7 to 8 years, and they get about 40 to 50 there. They also offer the classes at Del City, Edmond, and I think downtown. But they've been offering the classes for quite a while. I think this is the 4th or 5th year at Warr Acres specifically.
I thought it's longer. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you all.
Thank you, Keisha.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she wanted to leave if we do switch 5 and 6. So, okay, we're gonna switch items 5 and 6 and have 6 next, which is the use subject to review, final discussion and possible action concerning an application for an automotive dealer at 5959 Northwest 39th. Planning Commission recommended it, and this is, I guess Dakota and Mike.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't just saying I wanted to leave. I was just
Well, I mean,
getting
I
off your
wanna leave.
payroll.
yeah, no, I
Final.
know.
This is the only item I've got.
I want you to leave, no.
Yeah, get me out. Okay, so this
Just
piece
kidding.
of property y'all have seen before. I don't remember how many months ago it was, but there's a used car lot that's already operating on the west half of the property. So this special use permit is for the eastern half of the property. There's an office building on the northeast corner that they'll use for their operations. Really, the only concern here is similar to what we discussed in the last application, which was the use of the auto bays. The applicant did state that they are not going to use that for any maintenance, or any maintenance like repair or anything like that. It's mostly just for the detailing of the cars and then storing some during inclement weather. Also, they need 12 spaces for parking. They said that they agreed to stripe those spaces in the parking lot because there aren't any striped spaces over there at this point. And then I don't recall Planning Commission having any other concerns unless you do, Matt.
No, I mean, this came before the Planning Commission and Council earlier. It was just on a subset of the property, and so, I mean, we've had this property before us before and approved it for a car lot. The same concerns came up at this hearing as came up at the last hearing, and at both hearings, the applicants never indicated that they desired to do more than auto sales, and that they understand if they did want to expand into repairs, that they would have to come back for approval.
Zero concerns from the neighbor, no phone calls, no letters, no emails. Approximately 98, I think, letters went out for notice for this property.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Yeah.
Second it.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Morris,
Yay.
Mossberg,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Myers. Yes. Cole,
Yes.
Douglas,
Yes.
motion passed.
Anybody want to speak about it? No? Nobody here?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Yeah, he's here.
He
Ben's
is
right
here.
here, yeah,
Okay.
You come up.
yeah. I talked to him earlier.
I just wanted to make sure, because that's important.
Oh, yeah.
Are we still closing the public hearing?
Yeah, we're still closing it.
Wait one second.
Well, he's
I was saying for him to wait real quick, but you have a motion on the table, so that you need to vote.
Yeah.
Yay.
Mossberg,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Myers. Yes. Schmidt,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Douglas,
Yes.
motion passed.
Okay. So this is the owner.
Name and address.
Name and address.
My name is Ben. The address of the property is 5959, but my address is 5950 Northwest 39.
59.
50,
50.
yes.
5950.
Oh,
Across the street from,
That's his address. He lives across
Oh.
the street from the business.
yeah.
well, he has another business across the street from the business.
Do you need my home address?
The subject property is fine.
Okay.
That's it. They just need to know did anybody have any questions for him? But
Anything we say wrong about what you're wanting to do? Did
No.
we get it right?
We got it.
But, yeah, I don't really
you're
have
good.
anything.
You
I
can
mean,
go.
I
It's-
think we've covered it once already.
Yeah, the property is, we already,
there already was a
approved
car dealer.
car lot for the west half of it.
Right.
and this is for the east half, and it's
whole
on the north side of 39.
Yes.
Yeah. So, has the car lot across the street.
Yes.
Called Ben's, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, he's just expanding,
Yes.
yeah,
Well, that's good.
not enough room. So,
Make a motion to approve the application.
Second.
Second?
Yes.
Yes.
Morris?
Yay.
Nestway?
Yes.
Fairchild?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
yes,
Motion passed.
okay, and we're gonna,
Thank you.
oh, thank you.
What happens?
Table item 7,
You're going back to
You gotta go back to,
well,
you skipped.
Would somebody make a motion to table item 7?
I move to table item 7.
Thank you.
You guys are killing me with it.
I'll second it.
Morris?
Yay.
Myers?
Yes.
Nestway?
Yes.
Fairchild?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Cole?
Yeah, you're
Yes.
free to go.
Douglas?
yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, now we're going back to item 5.
They did not.
Discussion and possible action on Grant Living Trust appeal on the order from code enforcement officer to abate the property at 6800 North Lakefront Drive.
You guys went out a couple Saturdays ago, did some significant changes. She's been continuing to work on it. You have pictures from this morning, late morning. I went by, took pictures, provided them for you today. She is making progress. I suggest that you give her a extension of however long you want to do it, but close the matter and let me finish handling it, please.
So what he was saying was, if she's making progress, and if he sees she's still making progress, he'll just let her keep going. But if he sees that she's not doing anything, then he'll abate the property, and
Abate
then
it,
but
yeah.
it won't have to come back to the council.
Okay.
It'll
That's
just
the
be
deal.
the matter with
Sounds like a
him.
good deal. We can just
So,
delegate that out.
hey, I want to say, I saw the pictures today.
Yeah.
It looks really good. You're doing a good job.
And I'd like to thank everyone who helped.
Yeah, it was the Mickleys and who, Debbie was there, and then it was the people from Twin Lakes. There were about 6 or 7 other people there. So,
I have a question for Ms. Newman, too. I noticed the other day when I drove by, are you feeding some feral cats?
Yes.
Okay. That brings a whole new problem into play, doesn't it?
That's animal control if you would like to have a discussion with animal control.
Okay.
I don't think, they're not feral cats.
Are they spayed and neutered?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, she's just worrying about the population exploding because you feed them and then they multiply, they breed, and then you have 8,000 cats there. So.
Yeah, that's my concern, is that then you have too many cats. And I like cats.
Okay,
So what do,
I,
Yeah.
So really, we don't have to take any action, right?
I'm,
We
well,
don't do anything.
no, but
Table.
I'm trying to get a,
Because if you don't take action, then we'd have to start back over if it
But if-
doesn't fix. But
I,
I would recommend that, much as code enforcement, that you maintain this as pending action, but you table it, and if progress is made, then it just, at that point, can die a natural death.
I
But if
can't
there's
hear
not
you.
progress made, we'd have to restart the process.
okay, I do have a question. I'm not sure of the timeline, but, Sharon, you came in and signed a contract for the dumpster rental on 11/6/25, and, on here, you agreed to, I guess, the 2 small ones, but then they brought out the 2 big ones. And are you going to order some more dumpsters?
Well, the terms of the application and agreement that I signed haven't been met. I was allowed to have the dumpsters for 2 consecutive weekends. The only weekend we had them was the weekend that
Well,
they
the-
were.
And that's because they were full, so we had them taken out.
Yeah, you can't,
Monday, it said to call City Hall if you needed them dumped, and I called City Hall, and they came out, I think within 10 minutes, and dragged them away and dumped them. I did not say that I was through with them, and, they never
Well,
Empty.
the problem is that, the big ones cost a lot more for the dumping fee. And so we filled up, everyone filled up 2 giant ones, 17 yard instead of the 4 yards.
I didn't say what I wanted.
Right, we just said 2 dumpsters, right? I remember the meeting last month, we just said 2 dumpsters, so I don't,
So are you wanting the same giant 17 yards?
Under the assumption that I got those dumpsters for, that the contract I signed says that I get them for 2 consecutive weekends.
we don't have a contract for the big dumpsters, do we? For the 17-yard
Really for
ones?
the smaller ones, but since there was confusion on the contract that she read in the discussion, and we just didn't bring them back until we got clarification. Because if we brought back the smaller dumpsters, I think they would be filled up relatively quickly, the 4 yards. But the price difference is what, 220-ish
220 for the big ones. So,
versus 30.
so I guess what I'm asking, are you willing to pay for the bigger price, or do you, I mean,
I want, if, I signed a contract in good faith. I feel like the contract I signed should be honored. But if you're not going to honor the contract that I signed, then I would like to be able to call around to.
Ma'am, why do you think the city's not honoring the contract?
Pardon me?
Why do you think the city's not honoring the contract? You don't get unlimited dumps of it. We drop it off for 2 weeks so that, excuse me, ma'am, I was finishing a sentence here. It's not an unlimited number of drop-off and pickups. That's a significant cost to the taxpayers. I mean, are you wanting the taxpayers to fund this, or are you wanting to fund it?
The contract doesn't specify how many dumps, but I'm not asking for umpteen dumps. I've had 1 dump, and then they would be taken away after the second weekend.
Which you didn't pay what the price was for that dumpster. You paid for a smaller one, but we gave you a larger one. But do you understand that it would be a higher price to get that size dumpster delivered again?
I'm not clairvoyant. I did not sign up for it. I just signed a contract that gave these prices and how many days I could have it, or how many weekends I could have it. And then in 6 months, you can have it again. I didn't argue with anyone. I didn't ask for anything specifically. And the contract does list a price specifically.
For a smaller dumpster?
It does not say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The laws of the city do. And so,
I'm not clairvoyant. I didn't know.
well, you can
I
read the
didn't
law,
start the
correct?
fight over this.
You can read the law.
Pardon me?
The law outlines the price.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
The law outlines the price. It's not clairvoyance, it's reading the ordinances.
So,
So the contract is meaningless?
so Mayor, does that contract say what size dumpster that they get when they sign up?
no, it
We
does
look
not.
at it.
For a 4-yard dumpster, it's the only contract we have. We don't get.
So that's what I'm saying. So like there is like a misunderstanding. You know, because we had talked last month about just giving her dumpsters
Right.
and her filling out the form. She filled out the form because you got with Maria Mickley and she said you have to come up here and fill out a form. She just signed the form saying I'd like 2 dumpsters. So I mean that's I don't know how we're going to decide that. That form doesn't say
No.
you get a 14
I'm just
cubic
asking in the
yard.
future for the rest of the stuff.
But I'm asking, like, even how much are you gonna charge her for the time for what she just had? She should get the rate of what it says on the form.
Right, but what we're asking is if we take one back, are we taking back a 4-yard for that price, or does she want the 17-yard at the 220?
We should not given her the 17-yard because we didn't charge her for the 17. We should have given her the 4. The contract doesn't give you unlimited dumps. If it did, you guys would need to.
Right, we pay extra every time we get it dumped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you ask for it for 2 weekends, the assumption is it's gonna take you 2 weekends to fill it up. If you fill it up in one
you're right.
weekend, it can sit there for 2 weekends full. Or you can have us come pick it up, but then you're gonna have to rent it again. You're not,
So what's the procedure for, like, if, once they come pick it up, that you want to bring them back? Do they just need to tell you that or sign a new contract, or what do they need to do?
need to sign a new contract, and honestly, moving forward, the taxpayers ate the cost of us giving her a larger
Yeah.
dumpster. significantly larger. And so we either in the future need to get paid what you have adopted as the rates for that size dumpster, or deliver what was paid for, which is a much smaller dumpster.
So can we work on a form maybe for the larger dumpsters and have two forms? And then, because I could see, like, let's say you redo your bathroom and you want the larger dumpster. We don't even have a form for that. And
Yeah, 'cause
we're
you
going to
know-
run into that same issue.
I'm gonna wanna rent one fairly soon, so I would personally like, yeah,
Right.
that figured out.
We only have 5 of the 17-yard dumpsters.
Right.
We have, Victory uses it periodically. We use it for, bulky waste and that sort of thing. So we try to limit it really to the 4, the intent was the 4 cubic yard for the residential. And then if they went into larger dumpsters, the conversation wasn't really, from what I recall, really clearly set out. There was discussions on the dumpsters, but we really didn't define like who was really gonna pay for it. I mean, there
And what
was,
size of dumpster?
so there was really some confusion in my mind. And then the last time we cleaned it up, we used a contractor, and we brought him the 17-yarders, which he paid for, we charged to that abatement. So, that's where, from the last time we abated her a couple of years ago, so she was thinking the same thing, and the volunteers, I think we were a little unclear exactly. If we'd brought the 4 cubic yards, they probably would have filled them up pretty quick. If there was, that'd be about 6 of those.
Yeah,
So what's your suggestion? Like, okay, so
In the
I understand she only had the one weekend.
Right.
So, like when you get it for the 2 weeks, when you pay for them to pick it up and then they bring it back, and that's another payment for the pickup. So let's say they have to bring you back 2 more dumpsters. Are you fine with the smaller ones? Because that's what it would be, right? It would be
Yeah, and that's the
Typically
reason.
for the residential, yeah.
And that's the reason why I didn't bring them back, because of the confusion when I talked to her. We looked at the form. I didn't want to bring back the 17-yarders, and then she'd have those charges until we clarified. So, but if you dig through the ordinance, I mean, it was specified for the 4 cubic yarder. Now, did it say that exactly on the form? But we're going to modify that to clarify that for, it's a 4 cubic yard.
So is it
Sure.
fine then that we could take
We
2
can-
of the
we can
smaller
take her-
dumpsters
we
back
can
out
take
there?
her If she's in agreement with that, I mean,
But she wants the dumpsters back, obviously.
it'll be the smaller ones.
I can't use the smaller one because I've got more stuff picked up and it's too heavy for me to lift in and dump over. I have to be able to drag it up, and I wouldn't want volunteers to have to try and throw that heavy stuff over the edge of a floor.
So I guess that's what they're saying though, but if you were to get the dumpster that you had, that 17-foot dumpster or 17-yard, cubic yard, then that's a different amount you'd have to pay than,
Different price.
because it's a bigger dumpster.
Contract to be able to have it for 2 consecutive weeks.
But
But
you
it was-
filled
For
it
the
up.
smaller, yeah, for the small.
Ma'am,
You
did
filled 'em
not
up.
sign- You did not sign a contract to have unlimited dumps. You signed a contract to have a dumpster for up to 2 weeks until it got full. It got full.
Yeah, that's how, yeah. Until it gets full, and then you have them dump it, and then if you
Yeah,
want it
yeah,
back, there's another charge for having it back. You don't get it for 2 weeks, you have up to 2 weeks to fill it up. That's how that's what that works.
The contract,
It's not.
it
Is
says
it?
that they will deliver the
Right.
dumpsters for a
For up to
set
2
price.
weeks.
Ma'am, I would recommend you read the
Call
ordinance.
City Hall when you
Can
need
you just
them
give her a
done.
copy of that?
And then, since
She
you
has a
have
copy of that.
2 consecutive weekends,
The-
and if 2
the written agreement
consecutive
cannot
weekends
supersede
have
your laws.
occurred, it would appear that they.
And there's
would
nothing in
be
that
coming
document that
back.
says you get unlimited dumps. We will deliver
I-
the
I
dumpster, you
think
can have it for
that
this long.
It's
There's nothing about us
probably
picking it
no
up.
one's fault. I think that maybe no one has looked at the contract for a while. Maybe it's different, but I signed a contract in good faith.
I mean, we're looking at the contract right now. The mayor's looking at, you have a copy of it too, right?
I have it in the car, I don't have it in my hand.
I mean, I don't know if you want to read it, Mayor?
I think we have it memorized.
And you could say what it says. So you get it up to 2 weeks. If you fill it and then the city has to empty it, then there's a charge and they'll empty it and bring it back if you wanted it back.
I mean, the alternative is we just leave it there for 2 weeks and it's full.
And I had it emptied.
I just don't,
Yeah, I mean,
kindly to people accusing the city of violating.
we would bring it back. We would.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, if we could take back just the, but you're only gonna get the two small ones, you're not gonna get two more 17 cubic yard dumpsters. Then you have to pay the 200 and something dollars that it
You are gonna get what the law
costs.
requires. You did not pay for a 17. We gave you a 17. We will not do that again unless you pay for the 17. The law outlines the fees.
That I signed this contract before getting any of it. I'm at a loss. as
Okay,
to why
ma'am, if you're gonna accuse the city of breach of contract, then we're gonna be done having this conversation. I'm not gonna let you sit here and accuse the city of breaking the law and of violating the contract. There is no breach of contract here by the city.
The contract was for the smaller dumpsters. They brought you out the bigger ones. So there was like a,
You're only being charged for the smaller one,
Yeah.
right?
right.
Right.
But if we bring it back out,
If you bring it back out, they'll be the 1750, because we dumped them, even though it's probably
We have
more
to
for the
pay the
bigger
dump
ones.
fee.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just read what was in the contract. I did not know any of this. And so,
Right, so,
whatever you want to charge me, please charge me.
no, but we're just saying, we could bring you out the smaller dumpsters back.
The smaller one is of no value. I have more trash than a
So
small
if we-
hole sitting by the curb, and it's in one of the big.
Okay, so if we bring a big one, it's $220.
Fine.
Okay,
Whatever you want to charge. The city should just take whatever it wants.
okay.
Well, no, we just,
Sign a new,
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
sorry,
ha-
sign a
yeah.
new contract, come back to
Well,
the
no,
city,
you-
sign a new contract to get the bigger ones, so you have a full, a clear picture of what you're going to be paying, how many times, if you let me finish, how many times it will be picked up, how long it will sit there, and it will be very clear, so there will be no confusing.
Thank you, and I
Yeah.
think that will benefit future people who have.
That would be
Okay,
fine.
that sounds great.
All right, so what do we motion on this if we're allowing Mr. Zimmerman to monitor?
I'm motioning to table this item.
We're tabling?
I'm
Okay.
motion to table this item, yes.
I second that.
Till the next regular.
No, just forever. We never have to talk about it ever again. If it goes to abatement, he'll decide that and he'll just do it.
I would recommend that you do it to a regular, because otherwise we're gonna have to have an item on a future agenda for you to have a separate vote to take it off the table.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said, what did we need to do? Because I don't even want, like, it's gonna be in his hands from now on. It shouldn't be coming back to council every month.
It's in your hands because he made a determination that the property's in an unlawful condition. She's appealed that determination. It cannot be in his hands at that point. She has appealed saying he got it wrong. That's the only issue before you, is whether it met the ordinance criteria. There was nothing in the ordinance that allows you to give additional time if it meets the ordinance criteria. This is strictly, he said it met a criteria, she says he's wrong. That was the issue before you. In practice, you, like every other city council, has wanted to show some grace and not vote on whether it meets the criteria, give the person some time to try and get it corrected so they don't get a lien on their property. But at this point, it's technically out of his hands and in your hands. You have to make a determination either that it doesn't meet the criteria or that it does. I would suggest you table it, because if you don't and no progress is made, then he's got to get back to square one and reinitiate the process. The process is initiated if you table it, and at next month's meeting, it is now to a place where he's even telling you it no longer meets the ordinance criteria, then you don't approve declaring it a public nuisance, and it's over. But if,
So if they declare it a public nuisance, that means I can go abate it tomorrow.
you can,
Does not mean I have to.
doesn't mean that you have to, but it means that at that point, it becomes procedural,
Correct.
at that point.
It comes back from the council back into my hands to finish the project like I started.
And there would be nothing that would stop you from, as you said, doing it tomorrow. Or doing it next week or next month, but at that point, it becomes more whatever's in, most feasible for the city. As opposed to where I think the substance is, there's progress being made, we'd prefer not to have to go that route, because the property owner's making progress, and hope would be not to declare it a nuisance, so that we don't have to go that route.
I mean, she could rent a private dumpster if she disagrees with our pricing. Like, if she doesn't, the 4 cubic yard is available to everybody. The 17 yarder we really don't do, but I think the idea was with all the volunteers was they would rapidly fill up two 4-yarders quickly. So that's what 17-yarder, but the discussion on the pricing was vague. But as you know, it's $225. So if we were to bring those out, we would charge that amount if we brought those back. Or
per
she could go
dumpster?
to a private. She
So
could go
it
to a
would be
private.
$440?
If there were two.
Yes.
There's plenty of private contractors that rent any size from 40 to 30, whatever size.
I thought in Warr Acres you had to rent from you guys. There's an ordinance or something. You can't use, I see them all over Warr Acres,
If
but
we're- if we're
I
out of
thought
them.
you're only
We only-
supposed to.
Yeah, we only have 5 of the
We're out of
17-yarders.
You're supposed to go through us first.
Supposed to go
If we
through the
don't-
city,
You don't
right.
have anything,
So-
go private.
If we're out.
I do have a, I don't know if that is a question, but maybe it is a question. So I just, from my perspective here, putting it, I did it.
Yeah, me too.
And you could do that. The idea behind having the appeal is that if we ended up with a staffer who didn't know what they were doing, declared something to be a nuisance, the person appealed, then you could override that declaration.
Yeah.
What I think Mike is suggesting, and it's not an unreasonable suggestion at all, you could vote to approve the declaration of the nuisance and trust that he'll show discretion on when to send somebody out there to abate it, and if he's seeing progress, to not spend public money in the hopes of recovering it later through the lien by allowing the progress to continue to be made. But you could make that declaration
Now,
today.
could we still do that by tabling it? If we table it, would that do that?
Back in a month, doing the same thing over.
Yeah, the same thing over.
If you vote to declare the nuisance tonight, then it goes back into staff's hands to see to it that the problem's abated, whether that's the property owner taking care of it or him spending public money and filing the lien to recoup it.
And is that our only choice to get it into our code enforcer's hands?
To get it, I would say, back into his hands.
Back into his hands? Is that our really
Yeah,
only choice?
The alternative is to table it, and then at the point enough progress is made that there's no longer a nuisance, then at that point, you say it doesn't satisfy the ordinance criteria as a nuisance. It does today, it did last month, it did for the last several years. Honestly, those are two, what I see as the two viable options is go ahead and vote on it, declare it a nuisance, and trust that staff will show the discretion to not spend the public money to get it abated if there's progress being made by the property owner, or table it and wait to decide another day, which really just turns on, do you want him to decide if there's progress made, or do you want to be the ones to decide if there's progress continuing to be made? Hope that makes sense.
No one seconded my motion,
I did.
What were you doing, tabling it?
tabling it, so we'd have to
I
all
did-
vote
I did
no, and then have
second it.
another motion to then,
You could withdraw the
declare-
motion or modify it
even if it's been seconded?
if the second agrees.
I think it should be tabled.
You think it should be tabled?
I do.
I mean,
But
she'll be
then
back
he
next
has to
month?
come back another month. We'll
but
talk about
it-
this in
it would
December
not
again.
Come back another month. That's the thing, your motion is to table it indefinitely, not to a date certain. So it would stay
don't
on the
like that.
table indefinitely. There'd never be a
Means
vote.
it doesn't have to get cleaned up. He can't abate it.
It would just mean procedurally, it would be harder to get it back before you. There's still a way to get it back before you.
Yeah.
But that's why I recommend tabling to a meeting certain so that it's
Yeah.
automatically coming back before you.
Tabling it until the next
What
city
about
council meeting.
tabling it till January? Because the holidays are coming.
So,
But really, as I said, there's two viable options I see. One is to go ahead and declare it, but let Mike
Use his dis-
decide when to abate it. And if it gets to a point where it doesn't need to be abated, then we simply don't abate, because there's nothing to abate, because the property owner took care of it. Or, and so that vote would put it back in Mike's hands. Or you table it, you keep it before you, and you just, I would recommend table it to a meeting certain, either the regular meeting in December, January, February, whatever meeting you want to table it to. Those would be the recommended options that I would recommend.
How much did the city charge her last time? They went in and they did the cleaning?
well, I mean,
Have we
we're
done
not,
that? I don't think we've done that.
I don't understand.
we
Yes,
did,
we have.
Did we
we've already
abate
done it
before?
once.
It was,
I will tell
But
you
not the
one on
inside.
49 that we abated cost the city a little over $3,000. And it was not quite as bad, probably similar to what it looks like today, the pictures you got after the two 17-yarders that were taken care of. But the one on 49 down the street from the fire station, the city paid $3,045 or something to abate it.
And that's just the outside.
And, yeah, and
They,
there was
they
a.
can't go inside, so that's just the outside.
Just
of
the
it.
outside, and there was a small house on Sterling, and it was a very small house, and it was $1,800 to abate it, $1,800. And we can't get that money back until until they sell the house, is it?
Well, they could go on the tax roll, that's what I did with the last ones, but the county will not attach them to the tax roll until January after these taxes are completed. So in January, all the money you've spent since I've been here will be attached to any of the addresses that we spent the money on. We have not done anything with Sharon's house, we do not have any money against her house, there's nothing to file against her house, but the empty lot on MacArthur that we mowed cost you $1,500. So that's your tax money we're spending on private property to maintain it, and that's not what I want to do. We would prefer they mow their own lawns and clean up their own stuff, so.
Yeah, it cost a lot of money to abate it.
It is up to the council. We did the motion, do we need to vote on it? We can vote it down and leave it in the hands of
And then we'd have to have another motion and then say we
who
want to
approve it.
declare the house a
We can do that, just like
nuisance,
what we
and
did
then-
last time, right? Do we have to
Do we have a
vote on
second
it?
on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Aida seconded it, so if we all said no and then
Can-
had a
we can
motion
just
to declare it a
strike it down and go
nuisance,
back,
and
right?
then,
Right, Matt?
right?
Or unless you want to pull
Send
your
it.
second, he pulls his motion.
I will pull
Rescind it,
the
withdraw
second.
the
Okay,
motion.
and
I will pull
I'll
the
withdraw
second.
my motion, okay.
Okay,
Okay, so now we're gonna vote to abate it?
So now, this motion then is to say that we're declaring it a nuisance, correct? And so then it's up to, I don't know what all I need to say in the thing, but I mean, because I didn't get to see, all this says is possible action on the Grant Living Trust's appeal. I don't know what the action was, so it was declaring
In the hands
the,
of the code enforcement officer.
It is to abate, that's the motion right
Yeah.
there, to abate the property.
To abate the property, and that puts it in our code enforcer's hands,
Yeah,
is what I understand from Matt anyway.
I think he's
I-
looking up something.
And then we pretty much delegate to the code enforcer to.
All right, I'll do a motion to order code enforcement to abate the property at 6800 North Lakefront Drive. Is that correct?
I second it.
Recommend to declare the property a nuisance and
In
abate.
abate at a time of the code enforcer's
And then
choosing.
second it.
At a time of the code enforcer's choosing. And then it will never come back here again. It'll be up to him. Right,
Should delegate that, we don't need to be messing with it.
right. It should
We-
be
that's
up
what
to
we got
what
him
we're
for.
paying.
Why would pay it?
To abate the property at a time the code enforcement.
To declare, not recommend, but to declare an order of abatement
So what they're going to do is.
at a time of the code enforcer's
Give
choosing.
it back to me, so
Declare.
I can work on continuing
Say it again.
progress.
To declare the property a nuisance and order abatement at a time of the code enforcer's choosing.
Schmidt and now myself.
Yeah, so this is what we need, it'll be okay, yeah.
Are y'all ready to
This will
vote?
make it more efficient
Yeah.
for you.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Absolutely.
and Mossway,
Yes.
Morris,
Yay.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Douglas,
yes,
motion passed.
yay.
Okay, so before we move on, just to be clear, so we're not like what happened last month, you're gonna take a big dumpster out there for her?
Well,
Is that what we decided?
That's good.
We'll have that discussion, and we'll get her.
And that'll be up to
dumpster
him?
of her choosing, whether it is her choice to go somewhere else, or her choice to pay the $220 for 17, or the $18 or whatever it is for a 4-yard, but we'll discuss that with her, and we'll make sure she gets what she needs.
Okay.
Thank
Are you okay
Thank you,
with
Mr. Zimmerman.
you okay with everything then? Okay.
So far.
I wanna make sure you're okay with everything on this. Okay,
all right.
all right, thank you.
Moving right along.
Okay, can we break out to Public Works? I just say we're gonna break out to Public Works?
And you're killing me with the, put it in that order then.
I'll get with you
We're
about.
gonna recess to Public Works.
We're gonna recess the city council, reconvene after the public works meeting.
Okay.
So you're taking a pause.
Okay, we're going to recess the city council meeting to break out to the Public Works Authority meeting.
We should just start putting the meetings in that order
Yeah,
instead of,
Amanda, yeah. So we have a call to order, we have a quorum. Does anyone want to pull anything from the consent docket?
Thank you, Mike. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Mike.
everything you do.
Huh? Yeah. Okay. No, nothing, anybody, want to make a motion, or?
Make a motion to approve the consent docket of the Public Works Authority meeting.
Second it.
Myers?
Yes.
Morris?
Yay.
Moskowitz?
Yes.
Fairchild?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Hey, before I vote on this item F, is there going to be a final, or is this the final? I know it's in caps, but,
It is the final payment in Kraft Reynolds for
okay, then I'll say yes. That's
Cole?
Yes.
Douglas?
Yes,
Motion passed.
okay.
right. do
We're
that.
gonna have the presentation of the Warr Stormwater Program. With Mike?
You want a long version or a short?
Short, didn't we do one last month?
We were supposed to. In your packet, you should have received a brief overview. Back in 1990, the EPA passed for the larger municipalities, the Phase 1, which would be like Oklahoma City and Tulsa. And then 1995, the Phase 2 was for smaller towns and municipalities that were within urbanized areas, which would be us. There's about 50 entities in the state of Oklahoma, Lawton, Enid, all the towns that are required to have a stormwater report. Basically, there is 6 minimum control measures that has been specified by the EPA. They want public outreach to educate the public. They're trying to get a change in attitude, so to speak, or mindset to the younger generation to be more cognizant of the environment and to participate in keeping the environment clean. They've determined that construction is one of the leading causes of pollution. They pretty much have ended the pipe, like back in the early 70s. Cleveland their river was polluted by Standard Oil and like Sherwin-Williams. So the river was practically dead, even on times was on fire. So there's been tremendous progress in cleaning up the waters of the United States. But they keep tightening the noose, so to speak. So construction site runoff fell into the purview. So you would see erosion control measures like on the interstate, I-40, or any construction projects over 10 acres. Our school down here was over 10 acres, so that was under the DEQ's permitting. Another thing they want, the cities and towns, they've determined that Public Works is responsible for a lot of housekeeping, street sweeping. We have a street sweeper. We try to sweep the streets twice a year to pick up sediment off the streets, and we keep track of that. Post-construction is after the construction's done, they would actually install sediment and stabilize it back to a stabilized state to where there's not unexposed soil. And I talked about the pollution prevention. They want us to have pollution prevention controls in place. So if you go to our website, you can see our stormwater plan. It's probably about 200 pages, 250 pages long. It's pretty involved. They want us to keep track of a lot of different things. They want cities to try to adopt policies for, they call it LID, low impact development. There was back in the beginning of this program, there was back on the East Coast, there was a project that was like a $300 million project where they practice low impact development. It'd be like, you would have ponds that would hold water, stormwater. In other words, you would create houses and then you would offset that space that the roofs and the pavement took over. You would have a larger area that would capture that rainwater and then let it naturally percolate back into the system. So obviously in urbanized areas, that's not practical. There would be a lot of wide open spaces everywhere. So basically, as part of our stormwater program, we're supposed to keep everybody updated. So you can go to our website. We have a spill prevention plan, like for our gas pumps. We have about a 20-page plan with our sanitary sewer. There's about a 30-page procedure, forms and everything, what we're supposed to do with the contact the DEQ. So we have all those measures in place. We have measures such as what we're supposed to do in public works. We're supposed to sweep up any spills, hydraulic oils, all those sorts of things. So I have some slides I could show you, but I know we're already running kind of late. So I think, did we do two, Crystal? I can't remember if this is our second one. We may have to do this again next month to meet our 2 minimum requirements. So if there's any questions, it's a huge industry. They keep increasing their reach. For instance, at our last town hall meeting with at the coffee shop with Mullins, there was some discussion by the vice mayor of Oklahoma City on the EPA was requiring for drinking water, measuring the chemicals used for Teflon and waterproofing and stuff. They want to test in parts per trillion, so that's very expensive, and so he expressed concern on that expense. So, you have scientists making regulations, and then they tend to make it overcomplicated. So, as we all know, with our sewer overflow here in the recent years, there was a fine involved. So those are the things they were looking for. If there's blatant disregard, there could be consequences with fines. There was an oil company that they didn't maintain one of their pipelines, and somehow it ruptured and filled up a creek, and they were fined. It was in the $100 million. And if you get bored, there's a Sackett opinion on where a resident actually tried to expand their property, and it was adjacent to a wetland, and so they sued the EPA, and there was like a 100-page opinion to try to define what is waters of the state. So if the water drains down and touches the wetland and the navigable waterway, that's what all that's about. So
Wow.
as you become more aware of this, there's a cost on your utility bill every month that pays for an EPA fee. You pay costs on everything you do, transportation. You have all the DEF fluids and everything. That's all part of the EPA and the Clean Water and Air Act. So they keep increasing the regulations, and they keep taking, it costs more money to do things. So,
As a certified floodplain manager, I have to be up on a lot of that stuff myself. And it makes sense because as we grow and have more population, water becomes a more valuable resource.
That's right.
So we want to make sure that our stormwater is clean because eventually we're going to drink it. And that's why.
So they're shedding more of the responsibilities on city. One of the things they want us to do is adopt ordinances to enforce, like people blowing grass out in the street.
Fertilizer, stuff like that.
So I'm not sure we really want to do that, but maybe we can educate the public not to do that, and blow it back on your lawn and those sorts of things. So we could go on forever. It's a huge industry. There's a lot of consultants that make a living off of this. It is complicated. The stormwater program, they keep changing and increasing the requirements of the cities. It took me a long time, about 3 months, to use the bones from another city to get all of ours into compliance. So if you get insomnia, log onto our website, read through it. There's a couple hundred pages of stuff, and I can already tell we've lost Judy, so that's all I've got.
Thank you
I'd hate
for
to hear the
that,
long
Warr.
version.
Are we gonna see the slides next month?
Yeah, if you want to.
Well, I think you mentioned a good thing about the blowing the grass in the street, that maybe in the spring we mention that in a newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
and we
along those
do.
lines.
We've done a pretty good job. We usually 3 or 4 or 5 letters, we have the stormwater tips, don't fertilize before it rains.
I never see it, so.
Because it gets in our stormwater, and then that nitrogen just adds to the algae buildup and everything else, and you get a mix of different oxygen levels because of it. It's pollution.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
Anybody want a motion to adjourn this meeting and return to the city council meeting?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Yeah.
Second?
Let Judy have it out.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Morris,
Yay.
Oswald,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Douglas,
Yes.
motion passed.
Okay, we're gonna return to the city council meeting.
Yeah, hold on, I gotta get all the way back there.
Oh, okay.
Right, we have some laws coming into
I'd
effect.
like to make a motion that we start putting the items in order how you want to run the meeting. We don't have to keep
Well,
doing it.
these were requests, so.
Well,
Well,
Gotta make that motion in.
there's actually certain motions you have to go
Right.
down the item agendas or not, you know, that really should.
Yeah.
This is specific, but we're not doing that.
These were after the fact.
all right, so what item number are we on?
We're on 8A, and it's discussion and possible action on ordinance adopting a new section 9.02.025 and amending section 9.90.010 to establish an offense for interfering with a first responder engaged in the lawful performance of their duties and establishing a penalty for such, and that's
So
Matt?
these next three items are
I'm gonna-
addressing ordinances that either we don't have or that we have but have been, the parallel state statute has been amended this last session, so just trying to keep us up to date with the legislature. This is a new law that was adopted. For those that don't know, our court we can criminalize anything at a local level that is a misdemeanor at state law. There are certain exceptions, but that's the general rule. Anything that's felony, we can't touch, but anything that's misdemeanor, unless the legislature says we can't touch it, then we can touch it. You may remember a few months ago that the police department had a concern because our DA's office has been a little less zealous in prosecuting some misdemeanors than prior administrations at the DA's office, and so they've been kicking some things back for municipal prosecution that we can't prosecute if we don't have an ordinance. This one is one that was adopted by the legislature. I will confess to you up front that when I first heard about it, I was a little concerned about, for civil rights purposes, specifically First Amendment purposes. However, after reviewing it, I am satisfied that it meets the First Amendment requirements and reflects a nice balance between First Amendment rights and first responders needing to be able to do their job. Where I was most concerned is some states had tried to adopt just a radius from first responders that you could not enter no matter why you were entering, and the courts had found that was overly broad. The way that the statute's worded, and it's copy and paste into our ordinance, is that it's only unlawful if you're within 25 feet of a first responder, not just a cop, and you have been warned, and you don't leave, and you're within that to do one of three things, which is to impede or interfere with them performing their duties, harass them, or threaten them. And harass is specifically defined as conduct which is designed to intentionally distract the first responder from performing their duties. So it can't just be, it's not just proximity, it's you've got to have a warning, and you've got to be in there to try and interfere with them doing their job. So this would make it a local crime. Whether you adopt this or not, it is still a crime as of November 1st. It's just a state law crime at this point. It's nice to have something at a local level so that if they would have some discretion to be able to charge it at a local level and not have to file it in district court.
I got a couple of questions. One, I'd like to have Chief Anderson's opinion on what he thinks about this, if that's okay.
No, it's not okay.
Not sure you really want it.
I want to hear what you got.
Actually, I am in agreement with the law. I mean, you can turn your newscast on, and there are a lot of news reports out there, and you can see how people who are overly stimulated try to involve themselves into a scene. And an officer is there, as a police officer, we're there to try to maintain not only decorum, if it is helping a paramedic, if it's helping the fire department, we have to establish certain perimeters and get people back. If they work in pairs, you have one that is there intentionally trying to interfere with you while the other continues to go after others. I'm in agreement with what both the legislatures have done and what our legal department here is proposing, because as it says, we as an officer, I could still file this at a district level, which means a state charge. And then it comes into the hands of the district attorney as to whether or not they would prosecute. What this allows us to do is actually a time savings. When I say a time savings, because if I file a district charge, the officer not only is doing a lot more paperwork because of the state charge, but we also have to house the person at the county jail. And this would allow us to be able to deal with it strictly at a municipal level. And the officer still has a choice whether he's filing a district charge or he's filing a municipal charge. It just gives the officer the opportunity to do that. And sometimes, if you have a large crowd and you have multiple people coming in, to be able to stop one individual is enough to put the others on notice, and that way you can still maintain decorum of the scene.
You have anything to add, Stephen?
No, I'm just
I
going
mean,
through.
you're part of the first responders too, right? So-
Yeah, I'm going through memories of times where we've been impeded from trying to save a life or protect property because someone misinterprets what's occurring or is just angry and has been in our way. So it's funny, I'm having flashbacks by just having this conversation.
Yeah, today, and in today's age, it's different. You know, everybody has a camera on their phone, and that makes everybody a citizen journalist at some respects. So there is the First Amendment to think about when it comes to that. So I'm sure there'll be more interactions with the public as they video stuff that's going on. So, but I actually think that I'm going to defer to the professionals that have to deal with it. I think it's a good ordinance to have, especially if we can handle it ourselves and not have to send anybody to county jail, which kills people.
I can take a liberty to just say, since we're talking about this item, cops are human, firefighters are human, EMTs are human, and sometimes they don't have their best day. And sometimes what the citizen is saying and what they're complaining about may be correct. Time and place.
Time and place.
You've got two chiefs who, to this point, have given you no reason to think they won't take care of business. If somebody comes to them calmly after an incident to tell them that they think one of their guys crossed a line, they've given you no reason to think they won't deal with it.
Yeah.
I fear that we live in a society where too often we want to express that displeasure in the heat of the moment when there's a lot of other things going on and it's a fluid situation where if we can get a little bit closer back to time and place, do what you're told now and complain later, and there might be financial or it might affect the criminal charges if we cross lines, but not the best time to deal with it when they're right in the middle of an incident.
Just integrity at crime scene sometimes too. You know, you don't want people stomping all over that stuff either. You know, if you got something where you're trying to save a life. I think that's important.
And this says establishing a penalty, but I see the penalties are in here, so
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
just accepting those penalties?
Yeah, the agenda item is just outlining what we're doing, which is making a new law and establishing within the law what.
We can't change the penalty, make it worse, like increase the amount.
Heck, now I'm gonna have to remind myself what I put down.
There's, here,
General.
Oh, yeah, no, I threw it in, so the 990.10 has a general penalty of $200, but then has a specific $500 penalty for certain ordinances, and I added it in with that list of the broken
So it'd
out
be up to the
ordinances that have a
judge to
higher,
decide.
have a higher fine. The only thing I would tell you, set it at a maximum $500 fine. You could set it up to $750 per state statute, but if you set it higher than $500, then, so if you go above $500 but up to $750, then we have to offer a jury trial. And I'd love to see Judge Parker figure out how to select and summon jurors. And so that's part of the reason we have an incentive to not have
Leave it
anything
how
go
it
above
is.
500 is,
So it's gonna be fine.
$4.99.
Let's just approve it.
500 is good. It's more than.
Anything 5.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance adopting a new section of 9.02.025 and amending section 9.90.010
That's good.
as written.
Second.
That was good, though. I like that.
Myers,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Morris,
Yay.
Mosswig,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Douglas.
yes,
Motion passed.
okay.
Make a motion to approve the emergency clause?
Second.
Myers,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Morris,
Yay.
Mosswig,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Douglas.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, our next one is discussion and possible action on an ordinance amending section 10.36.040 to establish an offense for an unlawful consumption of or possession of an open container containing marijuana in a motor vehicle.
So as this was working its way through the legislative process, I constantly referred to this as the hotboxing statute. The reason it's an amendment to our code is the legislature chose to add this as a second provision within the transporting an open container statute. So since we already had an ordinance on transporting an open container, that's where they added it to the statute. Seemed like it would be logical we would add it to that same ordinance for us. The two things that it makes unlawful is that if anyone is consuming marijuana within a motor vehicle, so it can be the driver, at which point they're probably going to have bigger issues to deal with, or if it is a passenger that is consuming medical marijuana, well, marijuana period, regardless of whether it's medical or not, then that's an offense. And that if you have an open container of marijuana, what is an open container? The Medical Marijuana Authority has regulations that govern the packaging that medical marijuana has to be sold. So if it's medical marijuana, it's got to be in its packaging and sealed, and if it's not medical marijuana, then you got bigger fish to fry at that point in time. But this is something that, as of November 1st, became a crime at a district level. So once again, just to try and keep our ordinances up to date and give the officers the leeway to be able to file something locally or in district court, proposing this to adopt the amendment the legislature made into our own ordinances.
Can I ask a question?
No.
Then do it. Is the open container like in the front seat or in the back? I mean, what if they're legitimately OMMA licensed and
In
they
their pocket.
are bringing their,
It is in the vehicle now. If it's in the trunk, I don't know that you guys
Yeah, I've
have ever
read the whole
cited
deal
somebody
on
for
it myself.
TOC if you found an open beer in the trunk, but you're not getting into the trunk unless things have gone really sideways for the driver. So it's going to be in the passenger compartment.
In the ordinance I saw was like, hey, for SUVs, as long as it's not accessible, somewhere in the back where the driver can't reach or easily get to it.
Even in the back, if you think about a can of beer,
Yeah, way back, or the tire well,
you're
or
not
somewhere.
reaching. You're not reaching
otherwise-
back into the.
Yeah, it was
front.
kind of not clear. Yeah, it's kind of.
Silly
yeah.
question, is motor vehicle, would that be like one of those electric scooters?
right? That's a good one.
It should be.
So I should be chewing no edibles on my
I
electric
don't know
scooter.
that I can answer that sitting here right now. I don't think it would, but I'd have to go through the Title 47 definition of
Oh.
motor vehicle to.
Okay,
Yeah.
no worries.
So we're pretty much trying to equate this with the alcohol type.
No open.
It's already out there,
No
right?
open bags of weed. No open beers. No open liquor.
No, because, I mean,
Open it. Open it at
I
home.
was gonna ask about the THC
Or
vape pen, you
gummies,
know.
I mean,
Yeah.
That one is going to be a fun one for the courts to interpret.
yeah, for the courts to
Vape
interpret.
pens.
That's what I thought
truly
about.
don't know what they would say on that. I don't think they would say.
Well, when,
They have marijuana things.
when you buy them, they're in a sealed bag.
They're
So
not
if you
sealed.
open it and,
Correct.
Then it's
but
an
if
open
you are
container.
a patient,
I mean, I would think that a vape pen.
carry a vape pen in your pocket.
I would think that a
Put it in
vape
their
pen
trunk.
really isn't a container that is open.
Yeah.
But
that
that's
would
going to be a fun one for the Court of Criminal
Yeah.
Appeals potentially to have to
That would be
interpret
an
at
open
some point in
container.
time.
It'd probably
It's
be,
not like
eat
alcohol.
the gummies real fast.
Because let's say you get your medical marijuana container, you open it to make sure it's okay. You close it, but isn't it considered an open container
It's
because you
considered an open
opened the
container
package?
because you opened up the seal. Like, I mean,
And-
I actually
what
have
I'm
I have a high functioning ADHD, right, which causes some anxiety. So I actually have a medical marijuana card, but I do the edibles. I do like 10 milligram edibles. I'm gonna go pop one after this is done. So,
Right, so
well, we
if-
did a hope. But anyway, hey, there you go. Hey, YouTube. But anyway, so like, I go to the cabin. I'll actually like, well, I might take a couple of the open bag with me. I'll stuff it in my bag and stuff. But it's not like,
Put it in your trunk.
yeah, it's not.
But that's what I'm saying.
I have an
so
SUV.
but that's what I'm saying. So that
Carry that in their pocket.
Yeah,
right,
come in,
and
yeah.
so that's going to be considered
Yeah.
right. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah, exactly,
considered
like
an
a vape
open.
pen or something like that. Yeah, exactly.
There is stuff that you can use, you can seal it, like you can.
But I
seal
understand
it.
that. But
but in that-
once you have opened that
Once you've
seal, it's
opened up
considered an
that
open
seal.
container.
Yeah.
So
That's
I don't.
considered open. Even if the Ziploc is closed, it's still open
No,
because
there
you
is
had to
a seal,
open up
like
the.
a heater, kind of heat seal, so if you have something open, you can do the heating.
Yeah, you can
Take
use
a
flat iron.
laminate-
Like
take
it
a
feels
heat
it,
seal it
like
back.
it's
Oh, well,
brand
you-
new.
Okay,
I would
you're
probably-
you're running out of the house. You're late for a meeting. You grab your medical marijuana. You stick it in your pocket. You had already opened that container, so now you get pulled over. It's an open
It's
container.
open container.
I d-
Are you gonna test it? If
Do you have a
somebody has
marijuana dog?
Are you gonna
Don't test it.
Do we have a marijuana dog that we can sniff out?
We don't have to test marijuana. Based on our training experience and all the smell, we do not have to test marijuana. even for a state charge.
I mean, yeah.
We'll have to test it. So,
And again, Matt.
But I mean, when you
It'll
start
get
talking
tested
about open
initially,
containers, I mean.
but
an
not
o-
to make the arrest.
An open container of beer is one thing, but like of the medical marijuana, once
Actually
you open it.
specific in the
and
law, I
close
read it, it's specific. Once you open up the original seal, that's what they call it. Once you open up the original seal,
It's open
it's considered an
container.
open container.
Right.
I think what the state's trying to do, if you listen to some of the big DUI officers, all that stuff, what they're really trying to do is the same they did with alcohol way back in the day. You take liquor to your friend's house for Christmas Eve, you better put it in the trunk.
Put it in the trunk,
Your back seat.
somewhere inaccessible.
So what they're trying to do is stop the driving under the influence. And they're trying to make that where it's readily accessible. And I mean, there was an officer I know, and it all started sticking, that he was next to an, as far as I know, he's one of the first ones in the state. He was next to a car, guy sitting there smoking marijuana, he's like, he's intoxicated, pull him over. Pull him over, and it's stuck. Because it proved right then and there, he's intoxicated.
But what if he was a passenger smoking?
I said driving, but.
No, I know, but I mean, it's a whole.
Well, they actually have, it depends on if they're smoking or not. If you're the passenger, as it says in the law, secondhand smoke is actually a thing that can get you.
That's why Matt's calling this the hotboxing.
Right.
Which in the street language,
Right.
that's hot.
The hot box. I learned something.
Roll up your windows and you just let the
Oh,
smoke, you breathe in the
And we
smoke.
just figured out who had a sheltered childhood and who didn't.
Vicky.
Sorry.
If you're
But-
popping
but-
2 milligram gummies, you're never gonna smell the
Sorry,
one.
I know what that is.
To that point, the first thing that makes unlawful is either the person that's operating, consuming marijuana, or if they're inhaling secondhand smoke. Secondhand smoke, I don't believe that what you breathe out if you vape is considered to be smoke, but I don't have to do a little research on that. And I certainly don't believe that if somebody's consuming an edible in the car that's not the driver, that would be considered secondhand smoke.
Yeah, that's not, yeah.
I think the transported open container is the confusing part.
Right,
Yeah.
that's
The
where
confusing
I'm
part
at.
is
right.
the open
You
container.
shouldn't be using it while you're driving. I mean, there's no doubt.
But if you're not driving,
If it's in
and,
my pocket, I don't.
right, but say your passenger is eating a gummy and they get pulled over and now he's got an open container of marijuana or edible or whatever it is.
Not if he scarfs it all down.
But the rest of it's in,
Wording in there about the packaging and stuff like that.
Shall not contain an open container that, shall not possess any open container that contains, and I love container right followed by contains, not possess any open container that contains marijuana in the passenger area of the motor vehicle. Which gets back to your point, they were passing the TOC, but put it in the trunk.
Yeah. Yeah. Do like you do with an open container of alcohol.
she's not gonna let you talk.
Or in the spare tire compartment in the case of SUVs.
Yeah,
Mary-
the SUV, it says,
Mary,
you
you've
know,
got
like the
somebody that
wheel,
wants to
the
talk
spare
in
tire
the-
compartment.
Got someone that wants to talk back there.
I just think one thing, the language should say cannabis instead of marijuana.
You got so many statutes in Title 63.
I think it should
you
say
have to fix.
reefer. Yeah.
Or THC.
Are we ready
6,
for a
7.
motion?
Yeah, I mean, you know what, because I'm Gen X, so with Gen X, it was meh. It's the same thing. 6, 7 is meh. It's the same thing. It's all it is, it's meh, you know, whatever.
Next ordinance is to outlaw that.
Somebody want to
Yes.
make, anybody
Ready
want to
for
make
a
First Amendment.
I move we approve this ordinance amending section 1036-040 to establish an offense for unlawful consumption of or possession of an open container containing marijuana or THC or whatever it is in a motor vehicle, or however Attorney Love wants to word it.
Perfect.
Second that?
Morris,
Yay.
Cole,
Yes.
Oswego,
Yes.
Fairchild,
I feel it's a bit authoritarian, but I'll vote yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
No.
I'll look for the heat.
Douglas.
Yes.
I'll look if I can give you one.
I move we approve letter B, emergency clause relating to the same motion that was just passed.
I'll second that.
Morris,
Yay.
Myers,
Yes.
Oswego,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Schmidt,
No.
Cole,
Yes.
Douglas,
Yes.
motion passed.
Okay. Discussion and possible action on an ordinance amending section 10.56.020, clarifying the elements for the offense of eluding a police officer.
Oh, I like to run, please. I sometimes
Okay.
roll too, not only.
We haven't even gotten to the budget yet.
I
So
don't
this
want
one-
you guys to approve this.
This one is the smallest change that we've got, and it's honestly the legislature catching up with some changes in the times. Eluding had been defined as when you get an audio or visual signal consisting of a red light. Well, law enforcement has updated the lights that they've been using, and honestly, there's even been discussions at a national and state level of whether or not red and blue, whether to change that to just flashing blue. This is part of updating it, is it's got to be a law enforcement vehicle, but it's clarifying that it can be a flashing red and blue, a flashing blue and white, or any combination of flashing red, blue, and or white lights. So it's just updating the kind of lights that the officer could have that would then satisfy the element of the crime. But it doesn't change anything else related to the crime.
Really, just changing it, okay.
Just about lights.
Good.
I'm good.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance amending section 10.56.020.
I'll second it.
Myers?
Yes.
Musaway?
Yes.
Morris?
Yay.
Fairchild?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Douglas?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Do the emergency clause. Do the emergency
Cole.
clause.
She's
Approve
trying
the
to include
emergency
you.
clause.
Make a motion.
Make a motion for the emergency clause.
To approve it.
Second it.
We try to share.
Cole?
Yes.
Musaway?
Yes.
Morris?
Yay.
Fairchild?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Douglas?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, now for the fun part. Formal presentation of the 2026 budget, and then we're going to announce the December 11th as the public hearing date of 2025. So, Crystal.
No, this is your budget.
No. Okay, so we had a meeting.
So I will say I want to thank Pam. I don't know if she's watching or not, but she put a lot of work and time into doing this. If it wasn't for her, we would not have it. There is a sheet that I put on your table that kind of gives you a rundown of where and how we got where we're at in this budget.
Okay.
So I would say it's not complete. The Public Works Department still has the ARPA funds that I have to finalize, and
What was the other thing? There was,
my brain is
Yeah.
completely gone blank. But there's two things in there that aren't quite finished, but everything else is to date. And if y'all have any questions, or if y'all want to start taking stuff off, I need it by, before the public hearing. So if y'all want any changes, then you need to let me know before the 11th.
and we are doing well. We had a meeting yesterday, and so everyone put in what they needed for changes. And this,
Do you mean the department heads?
yeah, each department head, and things that we've been needing. And so we're still doing well with the tax revenue. Came in higher than predicted, so looks around.
So is everything on the CIP, did that end up going in? So John Evans, if you're watching, there's a bunch of stuff on here for 63rd Street.
Yeah.
Doing street work finally, so
I will say, this is just an estimate. There is no guarantee that
Right.
these numbers are what we are going to have. So January 1st, you can't say, I want to do everything on this CIP and expect it to happen. So keep that in mind, please. We did come in where we're under what we have, but again, that's just by.
But it's tight.
estimation. It is very tight.
Right.
So, probably for Jason, in the past couple of years, we've had to go through the budget and cut things, or not give raises, or do things. So like, this is the first year, 3 or 4 years that we've actually been able to pay our bills, basically.
That's because nothing was spent last year, and if you look at the the examples, we were so shorthanded in every department that money was just not spent on that part of it. So that's where a lot of it went. Everybody was shorthanded.
Yeah,
Police, fire, public works, I mean, so that's where.
I would
a
like
lot
to
of that
thank
money
all the department heads, because, we talked about it before, like, we gotta watch the spending, and I thought they did a great job this year, and the year before,
Police fines are up.
so.
Yeah, police fines are up. Permit fines were double the estimate. Some of those things are gonna go away because Tabor is done with, and Putnam City Schools and Dove are pretty much done, except for the gym at Dove. Sanitation fees were estimated to be $1,981,000, but looked to be around $2,103,000. So an increase overestimated by about $122,000. And for people that do not know, the only part of a government, city government, that can actually make money is sewer and garbage, other than the sales tax.
Water.
Well, we don't have water, yeah.
Right.
We don't have water, but
Some
yeah.
have internet, some have electricity.
Electricity.
But, yeah,
Yeah.
business
Well,
activities can make money.
franchise, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
because the sewer, you calculate the sewer based on December, January, and February, right? While you see a lot of people using more water during the summer than the winter, so.
Right.
That's why we do a winter act.
Yeah.
What the mayor's saying,
Should do
you
that.
can make money doing garbage, sewer, water, electric, internet. Those are the ones that I can think of that some cities do. And if you look to some of your neighbors, you'll find quite a few municipalities make a ton of money on the utility side that they then send over to supplement the tax revenue. For years, you were doing it the other way, where the tax revenue was supplementing the utilities. And so, and that's not illegal. You can do it that
No,
way.
no,
It's not
I
good.
think it's something we should look into and do, because we have a lot of areas that are flooding during the storms, and we can basically help build some way of getting those areas drained during storms.
Cleaning out the storm shelters. There's a lot of infrastructure that needs work. And
Or the new design, actually. There is
and you can
section in
build
Ward 3.
up a supply through the sanitation and the garbage and sewer, so that for emergencies. And there are those that come up, like, we had the big sinkholes. you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was on TV.
Yeah.
I have,
So,
I have a personal story. My brother and his wife's family, several years, probably more than a decade now, they had a Sonoma chapter in Sapulpa, Oklahoma, and they partnered with the city there and did bingo and split the proceeds with the city. And it came up to like $250,000 a year in bingo that they were getting. So I don't know how, but that's actually what they did. So that was.
I know that's illegal now, because our church used to do it, and it's illegal now because of the casinos, the tribes, they break.
but anyways,
that's-
everybody needs to really peruse this, and if they have any questions,
But yeah, that's,
We have till
Let us
December
know.
11th to even.
yeah.
Just don't wait till the last minute, please.
And, yeah, and if you don't understand what a light item is for, just,
You can email me. I'll do the best I
Questions?
can.
and I'll try to
yes,
help.
so Mike knows, I know there's a lot of Mikes, but that Mike knows, if you don't look at all these line items, Mayor Woolley went line by line at the budget meeting. He knows.
No,
He knows.
He would start with, does anybody have any questions on the budget? Well, let's just go through line by line. We were almost out of here.
I've been bugging Crystal with that.
And then very often, and I'm going to use John Knipp as an example. This is something different than what almost anybody has ever confronted. Municipal finance is weird, and the various types of operations that we have. I mean, you've got essentially let's say 5 or 6 different types of independent business activities that are all under the umbrella of the city. I mean, police, you got fire, you got public works, and even public works has several different subsets within it. You've got general city operations. They're widely different activities, and this is a lot of money that you're talking about. And I use John Nipp as the example because when Pat would go through line by line, the only time I remember a councilman asking was Nipp hitting Mike about a line item that they had in there to buy a new truck, and him asking Mike what chassis it was gonna be. Because Nipp was the fleet maintenance guy for Oklahoma City, and that was something he could dig into because it was something that he was very close to. But this is your opportunity to start really familiarizing yourself with the budget so that year over year you have a better idea of what it is that we spend money on, how we budget, so that you can be in a place where you can ask those questions I mean, this is the chance to set priorities. For example, I'll use, and I won't name the name here because I don't want to embarrass former councilmen, but mid next year we might, and I'm going to use an example that some people probably know who I'm talking about. We'll have something come up, you adopt a budget, but then depending on how much money you're talking about spending, the purchase might have to be approved, even though you've already budgeted it. And I remember several years ago, many years ago, a councilman objecting to spending money on playground equipment in a particular ward because his ward wasn't getting any playground equipment that year. Well, the budget had been adopted and included line items for playground equipment for 2 of the wards, so the policy decision had been made to commit money for that specific purpose. By the time it was coming before the council again, it was just to approve the purchase, but not to approve the policy of deciding to spend the money. It was just that we have to make sure that we're spending the money wisely at that particular time. So if there's something that you think should be a priority for the city on how it spends its money, this is the policy decision. I mean, you can always amend it later, but I use that as the example because the time for that councilman to advocate to get money for playground equipment for his ward wasn't when we were approving spending the money we had already budgeted. It was when the budget was adopted. So this is your way. You pass several ordinances today, which is your way of setting policy by way of law. This is your way of setting policy by deciding how to divvy up the pie that the city has available to it.
So are you gonna send this to us electronically too?
I can.
Please.
Okay. I was trying to wait till it was.
And there is,
I get it. You can wait.
so when the budget is put together, it is put together by the mayor, the clerk, and the lawyer, and the head of the department. That's my understanding, right?
Not
Well,
me.
he's not involved.
Not involved,
Not me.
okay.
No, just department heads and mostly city clerk, city treasurer. They say it's the mayor's budget and I mean, I can say, yeah, I don't like that, or let's not do that, or let's add something else. But most of this is set from previous years and we're just continuing what we have, what we know we've already got in taxes and what we know we already have to spend.
Okay.
So it's just, just tweaking it for new things.
Crystal, thank you.
Yes.
Because
she
you just got
has-
thrown into
she
this and
has
you had to do
worked
it. And Pam, I know Pam's watching,
Yeah.
Pam too.
Yeah.
Dan's watching.
Pam, next year, I want a consultant, we talked about this, I want a consultant fee and we'll consult you and we'll pay you. Because that was,
She sent me a text message, said she'd send me her bill next week.
right. So we might have to approve something.
Tell her
Hey.
it wasn't budgeted.
Is it a gift basket, something?
Yeah, okay. So, okay, we don't have to vote or anything. It's just a presentation. Okay, so our next item is discussion and possible action on appointing Joseph Schiff to the Ward 1 Planning Commission. His term expired last month, and it's just a renewal.
Yeah. That way we don't have to print up a new one of these. Very done.
And we
I was
do
going to
all
vote
three.
for somebody else, but I don't want to have to
Right?
print up a new thing.
It's like $3, $5.
Motion to approve,
Okay.
please. Item 12.
I'll second that.
Moswig,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes?
Morris,
Yay.
Fairchild,
Yes?
Schmidt,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Douglas,
Yes.
motion passed.
And by the way, they all agreed to return, so. So the next one is discussion and possible action on appointing Patrick Corey to Ward 2 Planning Commission. And his term actually expired October of last year. So,
But he's still been functioning this whole
he's
time?
been functioning, but we
Okay.
have to
Legally.
officially.
Well, I hereby move
Motion
to
to
approve.
pass, motion to pass, item 13?
Second?
Fairchild,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Morris,
Yay.
Musgrave,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes?
Schmidt,
Yes.
Cole, Douglas.
Yes, okay. And the next one is to appoint Derek Plumtree to the Ward 4 Planning Commission, seeing his actually expired again, October of 2024, so.
So it'll go for how long?
It's, no.
Is it just like 2 years?
I don't
They're
have.
they're three-year terms.
Three-year term,
So
I
like for the
think.
last one, we're already 1 year into the
Yeah.
term, so it's not a new 3-year term, it'd be,
Right.
he's been holding over, he's now officially been blessed to be in that for the remainder of that.
And he's got 2
term.
more years.
Yeah,
A little less.
yeah, so.
We can't do that on the council. I wouldn't want to do that. Like, you can't get off until you get a replacement. If nobody replaces you, you're just stuck on the council.
I move we appoint Derek Plumtree.
I'll second that.
No, I don't want to do
Okay.
Morris,
Yay.
Musgrave,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes?
Schmidt,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Douglas,
Yes.
motion passed.
Okay, we got questions and comments. I'm gonna start with
33.
Jason this time. Go around the horseshoe the other way.
No questions or comments from me at this time.
Your eye looks better.
Oh, gosh.
Good concealer.
You know, I started a new job right when it happened, and I had to explain the situation to so many people. It was,
Yeah. And Jason had an accident too. He shows up with a big on his head. And then I got hit on the head too, and I had a concussion last meeting, which was not fun.
No, wait, say what it was. What happened?
A mini crock pot fell on my head.
Oh, my.
It was the day of the meeting,
Oh, was
right?
the crock
It was the
pot?
day of the last council meeting, yeah.
I was rearranging my kitchen.
How was the
And-
crock pot?
Yeah, I know. And Jason hit his head on the attic, right? Yeah. So that's 3. We can't have any more. No more. Okay, Aida.
Okay, I want to thank a police officer in Warr Acres, and I'm not sure if it is a sergeant or a police officer. I did not get his rank. Officer Bond, James Bond, which is a crazy.
Wow, I knew that was
Actually,
coming.
James Bond, for helping me find, as usual, a stray dog showed up at my house, and I couldn't just close the blinds and ignore it. So he helped me to scan it and get all the family information, and was taken back, reunited right away. And it was a weekend, so that is an accomplishment. I usually have them for 3 days or 4 nights before I find their family. So I really appreciate that. He went beyond his call of duty. Thank you. And that's it. That's all what I have.
Debbie?
And, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, we're doing the bags, Christmas bags on December.
24.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
This
24.
Monday,
Yeah.
1 o'clock.
Okay, Debbie?
No, that's the next meeting. We have a whole nother meeting.
I am tired. I am glad to serve on the council. I appreciate everyone.
That's all?
That's all.
Okay. Mike?
Hi.
What's up?
First thing, I drive to work at 5 in the morning, and you get to 50th and MacArthur. I know we've talked about it before, but every one of those lights are out, the street lights at the intersection. I don't know if it has to do with they want them off because the street light, it affects when it changes, but that's the darkest intersection, and that's the busiest part of Warr Acres, I think, and it's always dark there, and I don't know the reason. I know, well, him and I have talked about it before. I don't know, they're supposed to be checking them because we pay so much for the lights.
Yeah, I've talked to the traffic signal guys to try to figure out how the wiring works. It's on the long list of many things that need fixed, so I'm not exactly sure how it's exactly wired. Usually there's a breaker box on the poles, so we'll look into it and see if we can get it fixed.
Yeah, I just don't know, like, there's so many people that walk around there too because, the plasma place is there, so there's lots of, I'll say, homeless people that walk around there. And at night, if they're gonna walk around, somebody's gonna get hit by a car over
I
there.
think we're supposed to have a meeting with the OG&E liaison here, the mayor and myself, so we'll talk to her to see if we can, try to figure that out.
Okay.
Are you, really? That's good,
For-
because I'm gonna send you something that
Okay.
we need from
Send
them.
it to me.
Please, thank you.
Franchise agreement on that.
The other things we kind of talked about, I wanted to thank Pam for help with the budget. I want to thank Crystal for all the work she did on the budget. At first getting thrown into it, and then you have to try to figure out a budget. I want to thank all the volunteers that helped with the Twin Lakes, with the episode with that lady with her home. At first, she was very resistant to let us throw anything away. And Debbie knows I had to walk away because she started cursing me out, so I just walked away. And so, but she listened to her and took her to a different area so then we could clean up that area. So I thought, like you've seen these pictures, but you can't expect people, and we were the youngest people there. Everybody there was like 60, 70 years old. There's no way you could spend a weekend there every weekend for like the next year, because that's how bad it was.
It was tedious.
But I want to thank all them, because the guys just started grabbing stuff and throwing it away and just moving stuff. They found snakes and they just kept going. There was a lot of work. But I think that's what the city should be about, is, helping our neighbors. And so I thought that's why I wanted to give her that opportunity. And it was nice that they all came out and helped out. We're going to get to it in the economic development part, but I talked with Brad Trainer at First Fidelity Bank. I want to thank him because I told him about the Christmas tree lighting, and he said, "How much do you think you need?" And we asked for $250, and the bank came back and gave us $500. So instead of like last year, we asked for $500 to come out of the budget for this. Most of it is budgeted, financed by First Fidelity Bank. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the rest of that stuff later. I want to thank, like I said it earlier too, I want to thank all the department heads for mainly the last year, but the year before too, as far as cutting back on, controlling the spending. It's hard, and like we had talked about, eventually we're going to have to get another fire truck. Eventually, we're going to have to do something with the trucks in Public Works. I mean, there's still stuff we need to do, but we actually got roads on the list. When you get to the part, when you see the CIP, it's kind of hard to see it in the small version. But we need to start doing stuff with the streets, and so 63rd. And then we need to start getting onto the
72nd.
residential, the people in the neighborhoods, because some of those streets, mine hasn't been done in 14 years since I've been there. So that was just a resurfacing. And so I know there's some that are worse. I know behind Putnam City School, those streets
It's horrible.
are terrible,
Grove.
so.
Yeah, Grove is on the list.
I want to thank, last I want to thank the garbage, the whole thing,
Yeah.
because that was just an undertaking. And then, then the truck got in an accident last week. And then, so everything had to be, and it was the side loader, so everything was having to be done a different way. So Mike, I just want you to thank your people, that we appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Quick question, just really quick, because I know everyone's wanting to get out of here. Like where I live, right on 42nd, I'm Warr Acres, right across the street's Oklahoma City.
It's a mess.
So on roads, do we work with Oklahoma City to kind of split the cost of that, or?
You tell him where it is.
We're at?
See, I'm at 4601, so I'm.
Right down here on
On
42nd.
42nd?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Boundary streets.
Yeah,
where-
but
Yeah.
between
Yeah,
Ann
so
Arbor
right
and
across the street's
Libby.
Oklahoma City, and I'm Warr Acres, so I was just curious, there was a crew
I mean, yeah.
last week, a week before, working on it
Radian.
just to the west of me.
Yeah,
And I
where they
couldn't
had
tell if it was
repairs.
Warr Acres, Oklahoma City. So I was just curious how, if you partner with the city.
He's asking if the south side, if Oklahoma City has to fix the south side.
It's probably the center line, north would be Warr Acres, and south would be Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it's really bad. We
Unless
should,
there's a water
yeah.
leak, then they would come in, if they tear out the pavement, then they would fix their water leak.
And I was just curious if we partner up, split the costs
We,
somehow. or
we did
something.
on Grove, we did an overlay on Grove, which was half and half here on the 2019 GO bond, so yes, we can, 63rd. East of, Grove there is half Warr Acres and half Oklahoma City, which they did back in 2015. They did a mutual, agreement to get that whole section overlaid, so it would require some work.
I was just curious on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that pavement is pretty
It's-
broken up and it's
yeah, real
concrete,
bad.
so that makes it even more expensive, so.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing because that's the way from Meridian to the city hall, you know? Yeah, looks, yeah. Anyways, Judy?
So December 7th is Our Lady of Guadalupe,
What?
St. Charles. Have we heard from them?
To be honest with you, I was supposed to call them just prior to my mother passing away, and so I've been out for the week, and I have not reached out to them. It is on my calendar to do tomorrow.
Okay. I just didn't know if we were thinking ahead and if they had, because I think they have to fill out a
Your
form and stuff.
question is, have they contacted us? Yes, they have.
Okay.
Okay, there is some question, and that's what we're trying to meet with, is the actual cost of it, because there is no way that your fee that you charge for the form or the permit covers our cost.
Okay, good. I'm just glad we're on top of it, so
Yes.
that's excellent.
No, the church, I assume it was with the church. I have an individual's name that has filled out the form. They've requested it. They've done everything the
Okay,
way
good.
that we had asked them to do it.
Good, 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 good. So thank you to police, fire, gosh, EMSA, and I think probably even animal control on our street this week. So there was quite a couple of kerfuffles. See, I used it. Kerfuffle. And I want to say thank you. You guys did awesome. We appreciate it. I contacted AT&T about our tower. I talked to Chief, I kind of stole his idea and ran with it and tried to contact, they said maybe not now, but maybe later. ACOG forwarded our information to Verizon, so hopefully they may take us up on their efforts. And then lastly, the Pines Dam and Spillway will be doing bentonite clay, and they will be starting the first part of December.
Yay.
Yay. And that is all. So thank you very much.
All right, well, last month, we had an exciting meeting on short-term rentals, and I would like to say that, well, what are we doing about enforcement? Is it, if anything's happened?
We were gonna talk about it. We haven't had time to go
Okay.
over with Matt what we're gonna talk about.
What you're gonna talk about on that, yeah. I mean,
We had to get the budget done.
yeah, I mean, there was excitement at the short-term rental near me, I guess a couple of weeks ago when I was actually out of town. I was at my cabin shutting it down for the winter. And I guess they had a party over there, and at 3 in the morning, somebody drove through yards, and they had the police out and all kinds of stuff, so they had to kick them out, I think. So, yeah, I'd like to see it's been a month, but hopefully we'll see if we can get something going with, like, shutting those down. The other thing is sales tax. I saw where, hey, we had more revenue last year, and I'm hoping that some of that was because of the campaign we've been doing for the year in the newsletter about using your full 9-digit zip code so that Warr Acres make sure to get the tax revenue when you have deliveries to your house. That means any delivery at all. That means from Home Depot to Grubhub. Have your 9-digit zip code in there, that makes sure we get it. I think that's helpful. The other thing is, yes, paint lines. Man, I've said that since I've started here in my first meeting, I think in March or something, that 63rd, MacArthur, all the way down from Northwest Expressway to pretty much almost 50th. That whole 2 miles needs paint pretty bad. And we have these nice canyons of some of the roads, like 72nd Place, that are still there. The other thing is, hey, we talked about bills that came into law on the 1st, and there was another one that you didn't have on your list, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with House Bill 1095, which is the carry conceal law for municipal employees and so I'd actually, one of those things where maybe get that on the agenda sometime, maybe something we talk about. Because it says in the law that it has to be approved by city council. If people want, like council members want to be carry concealed, I'd really love to have the input of our chief on that, really. But maybe that's something, that maybe Matt, you could look into for me.
I'm very familiar with the bill.
You are? Okay. So I didn't know if that's something we wanted to discuss or anything like that. The other thing is Happy Thanksgiving. It's coming up in a couple of weeks, so we won't, so Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you have a good time with family and friends and food and all the stuff that goes with it, And the Christmas tree lighting is going to be November 29th at 6 p.m.
Here.
Right here at City Hall. I hope to make it myself. And this Friday, I'm going to be 56. So that's all I got.
Birthday.
And that's all I have to say. So, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, do we want to talk about the Christmas stuff in the economic development meeting, or you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you talking about, you have any comments?
Yeah, well, my comments are just, thanks to Crystal primarily for all her hard work. She is having to do this while learning it, and Pam is still helping teach her, which is great.
she's doing her old job.
Has been, hasn't been paid for it, but, Pam. And just want to express my condolences to Chief Anderson for his mom passing away. And just thank everybody for all their hard work. And Mike Schmidt for trying to pull this Christmas thing together. And we've had a lot going on. And sometimes I forget to thank people when I should. Anyways, that's all I have to say.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Second it.
It was like dueling.
There you go.
Myers,
Yes.
Morris,
Yay.
Mossaway,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes?
Douglas.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, we're gonna go into the Economic Development meeting, Economic Development Authority meeting for November 18th. Call to order, got a quorum. Anybody wanna discuss anything on the consent docket? It's basically just the donation from First Fidelity.
Make a motion to approve the consent dockets, A and B.
Second.
Myers,
Yes.
Mossaway,
Yes.
Morris,
Yay.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes?
Douglas.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, well, the next item, it's been kind of a mess. The Silver Strings, they moved from one school to another. We didn't know it, and so Mike was trying really hard to get a hold of the director, and they changed directors, they changed schools. So finally, well, knew that we needed some live music, so I asked a bluegrass band if they would perform, and there's 4 members, so they're a professional bluegrass band.
They are wonderful. I love them, by the way.
Okay, and well, one of them is my brother, so I'm going to,
Oh.
I'm gonna pay his salary out of my own pocket. The other 300 are for the other 3 guys to vote on whether or not to approve. So I'm gonna pay him out of my own pocket. So just to let you know, they're going to perform, if you all allow it, for the Christmas caroling outside at the tree, and then the Silver Strings are gonna be inside.
If they still
performing.
show up.
They are going to show up. He called me again. This was, I had already, he'd called me on the 11th, which was, I was driving to the hospital because my son had an accident, and he called me right then. So I haven't had
You
a
know the
chance
day.
to tell you about it because so much happened.
So what happened was the Silver Strings for about a month, we've been trying to call them, and we left messages with the school, and then they have new choir director too, so then the choir director had to check, and then they never got back with us, and then she got a call from Putnam West, from the music director, I don't know how they knew to call.
Yeah.
That then they could do it, the only problem was Sunday, they had an event Sunday, but I guess they talked to the kids that did it in the past, and they wanted to do
Right,
this, so.
so I had already asked the bluegrass band, so they have already been practicing and have the lineup, so if you guys,
And I know
The
the
ho-ho-hos
hardest,
were already booked, so.
well, I
couldn't
know
get
the
them.
hardest part was always outside. We always tried to get like a church to have their youth group come and lead the carols and stuff, and it never panned out. Last year it was just like, I think it was Chief Anderson had to start. Didn't you lead carols or something last year out there? Because the church didn't even show up,
Yeah.
church group.
And
The year
trust me, I'm
before,
not a singer.
the year before when I was at the police station, it was the youth director and his wife, and the kids didn't show up, and they led carols. So I think this would be nice to just have that playing outside, and then they can set up in here, and then the
and
kids
Santa,
can
with
when they
Santa
come
in here. Yeah,
It's up to you guys. I don't know about the $100.
I have to pay for it. I can't, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I
It's up
don't
to you
wanna-
guys if you want to discuss.
We can donate it, we can donate.
Well, I don't wanna, yeah, an event like
I don't know if
something
we
happened
could ask
last year.
Right, we had a problem in the past with, if it was somebody on the council and it was something that we're paying for something that's related to somebody on the council.
And,
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And
that's not.
So
not
it's like a conflict
copacetic.
of interest, kind of, so she's taking that out of it.
Yeah.
so.
I move we approve the items on the economic development consent docket. Okay, then whatever, I'm tired, sorry, number 4.
So it's 4, yeah.
Okay, I move we approve item number 4 as written.
I'll
Second.
I got it. Kids
I got
got it.
Morris,
Yay.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Tomasaway,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes,
Schmidt,
Yes,
Cole,
Yes.
Douglas.
Yes, and I hope everybody likes bluegrass.
I love them.
I like music, it's fine.
They are really good.
Okay, and then we have another item for Mike to discuss possible action on the annual tree lighting.
it'll just be real fast.
I'm outta
It'll
here.
just be really fast. I know she has to leave. Okay, so it's Saturday, November 29th, like Kit said, from 6 to 8. We tried to, years ago, tried to start saying that the council would be added to help, like serve hot chocolate or cookies, or it's a good way to meet the crowd and to meet your neighbors that are out here. And Judy does this at recycling, talking to everybody, and then you get to know what ward they're in, who their representatives are, they introduce them, you get to know who they are. Monday, November 24th, so it's next Monday, we meet up here at 1 o'clock and at this horseshoe, and we line up and have an assembly line and just stuff the bags. Somebody opens the bags, everybody has their own thing of candy, we stuff the bags until it fills up at the other end.
Did we get bags or do I need to order?
I've already got the bags, they're
Got
in your
100 of
office.
them,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, we make 100, and that's how we know to count how many we actually give
And,
out, so.
Coy donated a bunch of Beanie Babies, and so did I, and some furblets and things like that.
Right,
And,
so-
we bought candy.
So they bought, Crystal went and bought old Halloween candy, stick in there. Hot chocolate Judy's gonna get, and still, last year was a whole big chaos of cold chocolate, and it was catered hot chocolate and everything.
Don't put pressure on me. I promise I'm hot.
We're gonna make it here in the stove here, and then just bring it out and just go buy the packets like at Sam's or somewhere, because it'd be cheaper than paying. So it used to be Provision would give us the coffee or the hot chocolate, and they stopped doing that. So last year we had to buy it, and this is gonna cost a lot less. Cookies, I go to Walmart, and they're working on, we got the grant thing, so I gave them the grant number that we had when you got the check. And he's supposed to get with him this week about donating the cookies, so we'll have cookies there. And then Santa, we're using the same Santa we had last year. So it was Patrick Sutton.
We had Santa last year. I
Yeah, he
didn't
sat
see
over
him.
here. Yeah, so you're busy out there working and talking to people. See, Santa was in here with kids.
Did not see Santa.
So, and I'll have to get with you about, we have to get a check for Santa. And I'll get with you in the office next time or something.
Okay.
But
And
that's
we
really all I
need to
have in this year.
publicize this. Well, we need,
Do what?
we need to get this,
Down
get the information out so people come.
Right, and I wanted to thank Doyle Crabb for making the flyer that I put on Facebook. He's a graphic designer, so the reason I wanted the white background is so we could make some flyers and then pass them out at the different businesses.
Just stick on the windows and stuff.
So it wouldn't cost so much in the, ink. So, yeah, he did a really good job.
Stick them out front.
Yeah.
Are you still locked out of Facebook?
I got locked, I got back in today. except on my phone.
So they got,
But, yeah.
the Warr Facebook page got,
Yeah, it was,
Locked
I was locked out of it. It said that someone violated community standards, and it wasn't me, so
which is funny, because that's what your thing says on there.
do what?
It says it on there on the Workers page, meets community standards. or
Yeah,
whatever it
I
is.
don't know. Anyways, got back in today, so, that's
Oh,
all.
you were in Facebook jail.
Yeah,
That's what
Facebook
it's
jail,
called, it's
right.
Facebook jail.
so,
Oh, and so, look, you'll like this picture. You didn't know. So this is from a when we were outside of this place the first year, I think we were outside. The kids caroled, and then I had 2 helpers, because I was Santa.
oh,
Yeah. I think Chief Patty, his mother had just passed like that day.
oh.
And so I had to be Santa.
Well,
So
that's
luckily
you. Well-
luckily I had helpers.
Oh.
But we did the whole thing outside, the caroling, and we all sat outside because it was nice out.
Okay, so we
But
got
there was
two,
a bad smell from,
we got two
sewer line,
backup
yeah.
Santas then, because Zimmerman's a Santa
Right.
too. So if Patrick doesn't show up, then Mike or Mike.
but I thought you would like that. I found that picture and I go, I'll get that out.
I like it.
I motion for adjournment.
I'll second that.
Okay.
No, I'm not gonna vote.
We have to vote on this one?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yay.
Myers, yes.
Yay.
Morris?
Debbie's
Yay.
done.
Mosley?
Yes.
Fairchild?
Yes.
Galt?
Yes.
Douglas?